Hello, everyone. I'm Magpie2541 of Magpie's Nests Productions. I'm here with bluedragonfive
Hello.
and the man of mystery, Mr. E.
Hi everybody, I'm Mystery. I'm a calm gentleman. I am not crazy whatsoever.
He's the Milan
Now-
of our group.
Yeah.
Pick a card, any card you
Okay.
Anyway.
Anyway.
Pick the one in the middle.
want. I don't know which one is in the middle. There's so many cards. Just play 52
sorry.
pickup.
Sorry, Magpie, go on.
Okay, we're here to talk about Man of Steel, if you haven't gathered by the picture I've surely put up for this video. I
Surely.
saw it last night. Originally, I was gonna stay up late and do this, but I just had to go to bed. I was so tired, and I had a lot to do today apparently. But turned out I didn't. So anyway, I finally got to see it. I have some interesting opinions about it. But generally, overall, what did we all think?
I enjoyed it.
Blue Dragon 5?
I really enjoyed it.
I've seen it twice, so I have more perspective over in my mind.
Okay, so I'm going to say overall, I enjoyed it. But for those who have not yet seen it, you might as well stop now, go see the movie, and come back because it's going to be spoiler-filled after this.
I was about to ask,
the heck out of
is
this.
this a non-spoiler?
Here's a spoiler. Krypton explodes. I'm sorry, folks.
Oh, damn.
Okay, here's another spoiler. The bad guy loses.
Oh, now you got
Here's another spoiler. Clark Kent is actually Superman.
Here's another spoiler. Zod is actually Lex Luthor.
What? Oh, man.
I got you all.
Oh.
Okay. Alright.
If that was real, then I'm the greatest, I'm the smartest, most intelligent person on earth.
Right. Hey, Magpie. I have an idea.
What?
Maybe before we actually delve into the film, maybe we should talk about our expectations going in.
Good idea, actually. Yeah, that's a great idea. I wish I had thought of that.
You should go first then, since you didn't think of it.
Yeah, well, seeing as I'm the leader of the pack here, I might as well. I really did not have much in the way of expectations going into this film. I wasn't overly disappointed with Superman Returns, but I was going into this going, okay, I just want a good Superman movie, and I'm pretty much sure I got that. So that was my only expectation. And I wanted a Lex Luthor reference in the film, and I got not the one I really wanted, but that'd be a bit nitpicky of me. But we did get one Lex Luthor reference in this.
A few, actually.
We got 3.
Yes.
Well, I only saw one, so
I counted them. I saw the bus, I saw the gas tankers, and I saw the building. So I kept count.
The building's hilarious.
It's red, white, and blue.
Well, I mean, it's because it's his office. It's like Lex's office being built, so that's like another thing that he has to hold against Superman. It's like the silly thing about the hair in the comics is kind of the equivalent. Oh, he wrecked my office. At least that's the way I'm reading. It could be anyone else's office. I just think it'd be hilarious.
I didn't see his office though. I must admit that.
It was like when the satellite was falling down. It was near where all the miniature pieces of the satellite was falling out. It was really close to that.
Oh,
okay.
Well, I just literally thought it was where Zod and Superman were fighting.
Oh no, that was Wayne Enterprises. That was the Wayne Enterprises reference.
No, I mean, I know that's the satellite. Yeah, the satellite's the Wayne Enterprises reference. I mean, Lex's office is where the battle's taking place because it's in front of a LexCorp building.
Okay, I did not know
That's
that.
what I thought, at least. I mean, I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure it was just the Wayne Enterprise satellite.
Okay.
Well, again,
All right.
expectations. Mr. E?
No, you can go next.
Oh, okay. Magpie, anything else to add?
No, like I said, all I wanted was a good Superman movie, and I pretty much got that.
Yep, that's all we can really ask for.
Yeah.
I came into this. Now, I was familiar with the Donner films. I was.
Same here.
Yes.
Same.
And I'll say this. I'm one of the few people I was not sold by the first trailer completely. I was excited that we're getting a Superman movie, another Superman movie after all these years that's not going to be Superman Returns. And again, I don't even despise Superman Returns like some people. But with Man of Steel, it's just that first trailer. It was like a teaser trailer with like this. I didn't like the music in the first trailer, but that third trailer, it's something about DC. Their third trailers are always awesome. With Dark Knight Rises, and this Hans Zimmer's score kicked in, just this building momentum. You saw him in the suit. I was hyped for it. I was excited just to see a new take on Superman. But in the back of my mind, going into it, I was thinking, okay, I'm going to distance myself from the Donner film to give this a fair viewing. See how then afterwards see how it compares to Donner, but still see how it exists on its own. And I did that, and I think it holds up as a piece on its own. And in general, I'll go in to my thought going into this discussion review. I think this film was successful in that it recaptured what the Donner films did do, but not copy it. It captured lightning in a bottle, only it's a different bottle. It's like a bottle right next to the bottle on the shelf, or a DVD on the shelf, that is Superman. It had everything, all the right pieces came together. Great cast, good action, good story. At the heart of it, it is Superman. So that's my opening about the film.
Yeah. And I also wanted to see Superman hit somebody.
That never hurts either.
And we got to, because really didn't do a lot of that at all in the other Superman films. So
he didn't do that in other Superman films.
Yeah.
Well,
but
in Superman 2, he hit people.
Right.
And technically Superman 4, he hit people. Well, hit person.
Yeah.
Oh, he hit himself in Superman 3.
Why you hit yourself? Because I have to.
And he fried a robot lady.
Yeah.
So he has. That's kind of a misconception. He has actually hit people in his films before, just not Superman Returns.
Yeah.
In that movie, he lifted up an
he just wanted to stalk Lois Lane in Superman Returns.
Everyone forgets that. Just instantly thinks Superman Returns, okay, he didn't hit anyone else, so he's never hit anyone, because he doesn't hit anyone in 1 or Superman Returns, but he hits in all the other ones.
All right, though.
It's not an action scene, though, so that's well, except for 2. It's fair enough. I'm sorry, Magpie, go ahead.
Okay, I want to move things along here, but seeing as we got all our expectations out of the road, let's delve into the movie itself now.
I didn't do mine.
Oh, you didn't do yours? Okay, go ahead and do yours. Okay. Sorry.
It was like this. Once I discovered Henry Cavill was playing Superman, my expectations soared from nothing to I have really high expectations. Because for the longest time, he was one of my only choices I wanted to play Superman. So once I heard he was casted, I was revved up, ready. This was going to be a great movie. The movie comes out. I still feel that it was a great movie. That it's just that he delivered it solid. I enjoyed his performance so much. I really did have a lot of expectations. I was truly hoping this would be like the beginning of a great franchise, and ultimately it is a great beginning to a franchise. It, as Captain Logan said in his review, it was the Batman Begins. It was the Batman Begins of this series.
I feel that too.
Could I have one last thought on my thing before we move on?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, one last expectation I had going in. I'm going to get to it later on, how it changed. But going into this, I thought it was going to be just a good standalone piece, kind of how I felt about Amazing Spider-Man at first. I thought, well, it's going to be a good thing, a good change of pace, see how things are done differently. Again, kind of what I'm saying about Donner, seeing how it does on its own. And so I came into this, and my expectations were, they changed that. I just thought it was going to be like a good standalone Superman story, see how it does, as like a different universe Superman, or like an Ultimate Spider-Man, or like how Amazing Spider-Man is kind of looked like it's just going to be, okay, it's Spider-Man with yellow eyes, it's never going to catch on. But now we're seeing it's it's coming into its own. But I'm sorry, go ahead. That's all.
Yeah, I want to just touch on a few things before we get to it. I did have one big problem with this film, but I'm gonna get to that later. But first, I want to get everyone's thoughts on the origin thing first. I'll go last this time, seeing as I went first last time.
That ship would never land in Kansas.
That makes no sense. A ship landing in Kansas.
Now, when I'm talking about the origin, I just mean the stuff that happens on Krypton, and the spaceship coming to Earth. Yeah. Not the stuff that happens on the after that. So just the stuff on Krypton mainly.
Okay.
All right.
I want to get people's thoughts on that.
All right.
So, Mystery, you can go first.
Last time. Okay. The stuff that happened on Krypton, I really enjoyed. But everyone was shocked on how much time they spent on Krypton and all. I've heard so much man, I'm surprised at all the time they spent on Krypton. I was just like this. Well, it didn't seem that long to me. It felt like the length they had in the Richard Donner movies. So that's how I felt about the time on Krypton. And how Superman was the first natural born in a century. I enjoyed that part where everyone else was genetically engineered. I enjoyed that. It felt like an original thing. So that I enjoyed that original thing. And with Zod actually killing Jor-El before the actual destruction of the planet, I enjoyed that as well. I just enjoyed the time on Krypton. It all felt good to me.
Okay. Blue Dragon 5.
Well, I think, let me say this. I also enjoyed all the stuff on Krypton. I thought it was really awesome. I think it's really, to me, it was a powerful scene. It was, if we haven't seen it, I would say we almost, at first I said we never have seen this before, but there might be spots in the comics where we have seen it, but as far as I know, on screen, we have never seen the birth of Superman. That was a powerful moment to open on, I think.
Mm.
Of course, the score was building in that, because you get the first inkling of the new Superman theme that Zimmer had, with literally the birth of Superman. It's just, when I saw this one for the first time, and I was seeing that scene, a smile creeped on my face. It was just, I was so happy, saying, yes, Superman, he's back in full force. We're seeing the birth of the Superman here in front of our eyes. We've never seen this before. It's like the moment, it was just really, really powerful, and it served an important purpose in that it kind of said to the audience in that one scene that, yeah, this isn't the Donner film, but stay tuned. It's gonna be you're on for a wild ride. It's gonna be a lot of fun. You saw this sort of like this Lion King Star Wars. Like Lion King Star Wars, after he's born, like the alien monster looks like a bantha from Star Wars is roaring. But I mean, it shows you what the Krypton looks like and how it's not a crystal. I couldn't have been the only one who thought that was a thought that was a little bit like Lion King.
Lion King, you mentioned oh, okay, Lion King.
I'm just saying that shot just reminds me of the Lion King, and the thing looked like a bantha from Star Wars. But So we see Krypton after that scene, and the plot moves. I think the plot on Krypton has a real snappy pace to it, and that we instantly after that we go to what we need to know after that. Jor-El is approaching the council. Has a good pace to the film. Saying, okay, Krypton's doomed. We have to get off. Then we see the council's not listening. We get a sense by the acting that the council's kind of they're kind of dim to this. Not dim, but I mean they're old and in their ways about this sort of stuff. So, then Zod comes in, moves the plot forward, and let me ask you this. I'm just going to touch on this. There are a few risky ideas. There are a lot of risky ideas in this, and that's really the dividing thing about this film, because it always surprised me how people felt about this film. Because some of them are really against it, some of them are really for it, some of them are in the middle. But one of the things in this film that really divides people, I think it's an idea that's really it's out there, but I think it just needs some time to sink in. At first, it doesn't make much sense, but it just takes some time to sink in. So it's like it would be a problem, but I just think it's too smart to be a problem. The Codex.
I didn't mind the Codex.
No, neither did I. I was like, well, okay, that's the thing that Zod is after, so it gives him something to chase. Instead of like, I want revenge on Jor-El.
I need the Codex to repopulate.
I think it helps Zod's motivation throughout the film. Like, I actually kind of could see Zod's point of view throughout this film, and I was.
And I just want to say this about the Codex. I thought it was very interesting with the Codex, and it just popped in my head. Like, if somehow they ever get a sample of Superman's blood, I'm just saying, if they ever were to do it, and Lex Luthor were to get it, and he were to see, like, the Codex in it, like, see some of the Codex gene in it, he could somehow twist it and pervert it or something, and then we could get Bizarro right there with the Codex.
That would be neat. That is a good idea right there.
The Codex.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. The Codex, I think it just divides people, especially later on. There's how it's like absorbed in Superman. That's what I'm saying, how it's absorbed in Superman cells. Again, if they're planning on Bizarro, that's not a bad idea. But I don't know, I think on the right now as a standalone film is a little risky thing, and hopefully it plays out, giving it more purpose, and just how he's like the last son, yet he also has all these cells inside of him. That's the idea. I mean, just him transferring the Codex into Kal-El. That's what I'm saying is the risky move, and hopefully if it comes into play later, that would kind of clear up. Again, these are ideas I think just need to sink in. They're not problems, and they're out there, and like the whole thing about the natural birthing, and against it's like test tube babies, it's like in water and the Codex and the grapevine sort of looking thing. Yeah.
Well.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So.
Okay. For the
anything else you want to point out?
Well, yeah, Krypton works. Also, what did you think of the little peg technology? It's like that children's toy where you put your hand through the peg. It's on the other side for all the Kryptonian technology that's not Brainiac.
Yeah.
Or like it shapeshifts into like Laura's face, and it's like the little floating guys, but still.
Yeah, I kind of like that. Yeah, I kind of like that. I thought it was cool.
It was neat. I thought it was neat. Should we talk about Jor-El and Zod a little more?
Well, why don't you give us your opinion?
This is just Krypton. We're just going to talk.
Yeah. We're focusing on the stuff on Krypton at the moment. It's okay, and I'll give you, and we're all just giving our own thoughts at the moment. So just keep going with your own thoughts, and I'll chime in and let you know.
Sure.
What I think next, because
Well, again, just all the Krypton stuff. I think all the Krypton stuff worked. It was neat. We have like flying. We saw a lot of flying. We saw that flying creature Jor-El's using. It's like his pet, which is again, it's just kind of showcasing this It's a different Krypton than we've seen before. It kind of takes me back to the animated series Krypton, in the Superman animated series, because we saw Jor-El taking more of a heroic role. He's kind of a scientist, but also he's kind of an action star in the animated series episode. We got to see a Jor-El that's more... Again, I don't want to touch on Jor-El too much. I'm just saying that it's like Krypton. We had a lot of creatures in the animated series Krypton. We got to see some here. I don't know if they took the inspiration from that entirely or what, but some food for thought, I would say. And Krypton as a society, it's in times of war. What do you guys think of that?
That always seemed in my mind how it would always be.
Yeah.
Of Krypton's cycle, in my mind, it would always be at war. Just because it would be at that time.
I thought it worked for what they were going for as well. Yeah.
It seems that
I'll go into it more when it's my turn. So.
Last thing I'll bring up. Sorry, Mac, I'm going on for so long, but last thing I'll bring up about Krypton. I guess it's a science. Is a theme that kind of be like science versus. Well, sorry, not science versus. I mean, this civilization is so scientifically advanced. Their main focus on the planet is science. Hence, it's become their obsession to the point where they're birthing children artificially. They're not having natural births anymore. And I don't know if it's like that John Byrne Superman, where like they find a little more, not it's like germophobic, or they're more a sterile race in Krypton, like the John Byrne run. So I'm saying it's kind of that. It's the scientific. They've obsessed with the science to the point where it's destroying their planet. And Zod loves Krypton. He's trying to protect it. And he's kind of. It's like it's almost nature versus nurture. It's kind of they're losing sight of the people. It's just more about the advancement of the people. It's kind of an interesting thing on Krypton we didn't see before. We just saw them as like the big stuffy guys dressed in this really cool white light material. They're saying, you are forbidden. Jor-El, no. You go against us or you say the planet's going to be destroyed, you will be exiled, or something along those lines. So it's an interesting take on Krypton, to say the least.
Okay. Okay, wait, you want me to go now?
Oh, yeah, I'm good.
Okay. All right. Now, when I saw the trailers, I noticed that we were probably going to get a different looking Krypton, and I was like all for that because I was sick and tired of all the crystal type Krypton that we'd got. Same with the Fortress of Solitude. But I wasn't overly sold with this take on it. I like that we saw Krypton underwater in the midst of war. I got glad we got to see a little bit more of Krypton this time as well. When I saw him jump on that pterodactyl type thing, I was like, you know what? I don't like it, but I'll roll with it. So there was a lot of moments in this where I was like, okay, I don't particularly like that, but I'll roll with it, sort of thing. And for the brief amount of time that was on there, I didn't think we spent too much time on Krypton, actually. I thought, you know what? I figured we should spend a little bit of time on there, and I'm glad we did. We got to really see Russell Crowe do it quite a bit here, and I thought he was right underneath the guy that played
Marlon Brando.
Yeah, Marlon Brando. Like he hasn't topped him, but he's right up there with him. He did a great job. And I'm glad. The owner of the South Sydney Rabbitohs did well in this.
You know what's funny? I think
what
I would say it was less than what we saw in the Donner film. However, then I keep reminding myself there's that scene with the whole pterodactyl chase and getting the codex, and I think that might just make it a hair at the same or a little bit over the Donner film Krypton. But either way, it feels like less.
Yeah,
it was like good pacing.
Yeah, and I was interested to see that this is like more metal type Krypton, not all everything's made out of crystals. Because I was like, God, like for ages, I was just like, God, can we get away from this crystal style of Krypton?
You know, you know what the next Krypton's going to be, don't you? If they ever reboot it again, it's going to be plastic.
Oh,
Go
God.
from crystal, we go from metal, next is plastic.
Yeah, it's just, I was sick and tired of seeing it. I liked how they got Zod into the Phantom Zone and all that. I'm glad we I missed the mirror though. You know, that was the one thing I didn't like. I wanted to see the mirror. You know, type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the project.
That's the one.
Yeah, in the animated series, you had the projector. In the movie, you had the cool little window effect, the diamond little window effect. And then, well, in this one, they get launched. Just see if I can understand this, okay? Because just want to make sure I got this straight for the Phantom Zone. They get frozen in the jail, which is basically them being put in stasis, and it doesn't look comfortable either, because that black jail looks like it hurts them after they're screaming. Then again, it could be like screaming in the window. So they're encased in the thing, and they're just basically put in a prison cell. It's in like another. It's like in a warp drive somewhere. They get encased in this thing. They get sucked up into the ship, and which basically puts them in like another. It takes them through the Phantom Drive. It puts them in the hyperspace somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Making sure.
Yeah, that's it.
In perfect view of Krypton, by the way.
Yeah, I thought that was it. Yeah, that was alright, but
You'll know what a Phantom Drive does, but we get it.
I gather it was like their version of Phantom Zone, like it drives them in there or something. Yeah, whatever.
It works.
But anyway, my last little thing is about the genetic engineering versus the whole natural birth thing. I thought that was a good idea, and it doesn't really come into play on Krypton. It comes into play later. And yeah, that was really interesting.
You know what the best thing about that is?
What?
He's literally the last son of Krypton. That's so awesome.
Man, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I like that.
Even they do bring in people, he's literally the last son of Krypton. He was born naturally. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. Also, what do you think of the S on the spaceship?
I thought it was okay. The symbol of it is family, which I always liked, and I liked how they transferred that later on into the symbol for hope. But yeah, that's all my thoughts on Krypton, guys. And anyone else want to chime in on anything else? Because then we're going to move on, and I got an interesting title for the next section.
No, I'm fine.
I think, well, we're going to talk about more Zod and Jor-El later, right?
Yeah, we will.
Yeah, then basically I'm good then.
Yeah.
Also, Laura,
right.
Should we talk about Laura now? Because really she's dead after this.
Yeah, she didn't do that much, but except give birth to Superman and.
I felt for what she did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, she had more to do than Laura in the original. And don't feed me the whole she's in Superman too. I mean, come on.
Oh, I could care less about her in Superman too. I'd rather watch the Richard Donner.
In this though, I think she has more to do, and I like how she has this good moment where she's like, Zod approaches her saying, don't launch him into space. She has more to do in that she sends her son into space.
She pushes the button.
I mean, she's getting more to do. That's essentially what I'm saying. I know it's not much, but still, it's more to do. And then, of course, she suffers, the loss of Jor-El. And I think she emotes a lot. She has an opportunity to emote more than the other one did. It's not her fault. She just didn't have much screen time.
Yeah.
Plus, there's a great shower. She gets vaporized. It's like, it's sad. You feel bad for her because, her husband, the only reason she stayed was for, she could go die with her husband.
Yeah.
And her husband's gone.
Really get to... Yeah. But she was good for what little she had to do.
Definitely. Also, there's that scene where she's getting yelled at by Zod.
You think you're
witnessing the execution, the sentencing. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's great. I love that.
I will find him.
I will find him.
Yeah. No, nearly as good as kneel before Zod.
Cal, you will kneel before me. You and then one day, yours!
Yeah, nearly as good as that.
You will bow down before me, son of Jor-El. You will bow down before me, Jor-El. You and one day, your ass! Sorry.
Yeah. Okay, we're ready to move on, guys?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's go to Earth!
Yeah, okay. Now, what I'm going to call this next bit is so we can keep in continuity with everything. Is I'm going to call this the journey to the suit. So everything that happens before we actually see him for the first time in the suit.
Ooh, that's cool. That's a good title.
Journey to the suit.
You're saying all the right things again, Magpie.
Yeah.
Does that include the flashbacks?
That is the flashback.
The flash. Let's just do all the flashbacks. We'll put them all into this, but just.
We're doing them in order.
Yeah, we're doing the movie in order from what I can remember.
I mean, in order of the movie or in order chronological or when they would take place.
If you want to touch on them, that's okay. I'm not gonna rip you apart for it, but just like.
Should we mention the editing before we go through?
Yeah, I thought it worked. The editing was pretty good in this. They integrated the flashbacks really well.
They went Batman Begins on this movie.
They did.
Yeah, which was okay. I really like this, but if they reboot it up.
Thing of it is, they took their audience seriously in that. Yes, you know who this guy is, but let's jump around.
You know the story. You know the story. We're not going to tell you. You know it.
I mean, we'll get to it. We'll get back to it when it counts, though.
Well, mention some tidbits, but you know the story.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's not pretend that there hasn't been a Superman origin movie before this.
Wait, let's not pretend you don't know the story. I mean, every single person on Earth should know the story.
Yeah.
Yep. And it really worked. It's kind of like Era, kind of like the lesson of the day, but more like it's a theme so it's like when he flashes back for a reason, and kind of Batman Begins to justify like he blacks out or something, then the flashback to his journey, and we got that with Superman. It worked really well. However, I will admit this before we move on. I think it's another point that can lose some people. It did lose some people when people are really put off by this film. That is kind of one of the points of contention with it. It flashes back too much; they can't follow along. Kind of like when Inception.
Yeah. Oh well, it's.
I followed it.
As did I.
I had no problems with this. If you, I'm not going to say you're stupid if you didn't follow it, but really, you should be. If you're not used to movies like that, then just don't see them.
So I should say, I'm not just saying it's a Christopher Nolan movie. I'm not saying it's a Zack Snyder movie. I'm just saying it has something in common with Batman Begins and Inception.
Oh. All right.
It felt like going the flashback though, like. It feels like they're going the Christopher Nolan formula.
Yeah. All right.
Are we a Deadly Sketch now?
Yeah, let's do the Deadliest Catch. Yeah. Okay.
What do you think of that choice?
That he ran away from home and he's sort of like become a fisherman.
Well, yeah. I mean, the idea of him. I'm fine with him running away. I'm just kind of looking for self-discovery, that sort of thing. But what I'm saying is, how do you feel about this occupation itself? Just being, working on the Deadliest Catch boat, just working as a dangerous show as a fisherman.
I don't think it's the Deadliest Catch show. I'm just saying it's an occupation associated that's similar to the Deadliest Catch.
I know. I'm fun.
I mean, I didn't see any cameras there.
Well, I mean, just the idea of him being a fisherman, I guess, is what I mean.
I didn't mind it.
like it's an inspired choice though. Would you look at Superman and say, what if he was a fish? What if he was fisherman?
Look, I don't mind it. Really, I thought, well, okay, they want to do something different with this guy, and if you want to do something different with Superman, I'm always up for that, you know, because we're learning about this guy throughout this, and I'm like, okay, I can see this Superman going off and becoming a fisherman after college and whatnot, and sort of running around the world trying to find himself, find his place in the world. And I don't think it would instantly come to him to go and become a reporter or anything, or become Superman. Yeah.
Do you think he went to college?
Yeah. I think he started.
I think he probably went to like community college.
I don't think this Clark Kent became a football star. I think he was like sort of a loner throughout most of his life. I don't think he had too many friends.
Except for Pete.
Yeah, I got the impression that maybe Pete and him became friends.
Maybe like he probably had some sort of friendship with Lana.
Yeah.
I felt it was just one thing about the coach. I've heard some people say, some diehard Donner Superman fans, just Superman fans, they've said he didn't. 2 points of contention from Ralph Garman, by the way, Hollywood Babylon. He said that Superman comes across to him. I think he's being a little harsh on the film, but he's entitled to his opinion. He said basically he didn't go to college and he's basically a bum. He was calling him. He was joking, but he was saying he was like a bum. He's just going around job to job because he didn't go to college. How is he going to be a reporter at the end? His words, not mine.
Wrong.
I'm still saying
did we see him not go to college?
We didn't see him go to college, but we did not see him go to college. Wait.
Yeah. Did we see him ever run away after high school? No, we didn't.
It's one of those things where, yeah, you can say he didn't go to college, but you can say he didn't go to college, but then at the exact same time, you can't say he didn't go to college. Because we don't know. We never saw that.
True. I say he went to college. I'm just going off what I usually know about Superman. You know, he went to college. I'm just going off that. I don't see why not. So that's my argument. I don't see why not. We don't see any. Yeah, I'm with you guys what you're saying there.
Yeah, we just didn't. We didn't need to see that. Or do we need to show him going to college so we can say, oh, okay, so he's going to become a reporter at the end?
It's assumed.
Yeah, it's assumed. You making that? That's making an assumption. You didn't.
We as the audience didn't.
Yeah, he was saying, well, I can see him going off and trying to become a writer or something at college, and then sort of falling into the reporter type thing. So yeah, I didn't have a problem with it.
We just. I feel bad because I think it attracted us from the fisherman angle.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But moving on a bit, he becomes a busboy later on somewhere. Like, I got the impression that he goes to Canada after leaving the fishing boat and becomes a busboy. And that whole fight, I was like, oh god, you just want to hit that truck driver guy, and then you see what happens with the guy's truck
I saw that scene with the truck. It reminded me of one scene. That was from Smallville, episode 1, where it's like, he looks into the homecoming, he's like, I don't like the football jog, the captain of the football team, I don't like him. And then he just looks at multiple trucks, and then he just stacks the truck right on top of each other. So it's just like, it reminds me of that scene.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the football junk just looks at him and is like, who did this to my truck? It's like, yeah, reminds me of Smallville.
You know what it reminds me of?
What?
Reminds me of the scene in Superman 2 when he actually does get into a bar fight. Well, he gets into a diner fight, I guess.
Yeah.
I thought it was well handled. I think it was better handled here. Not that I'm one of the... I kind of defend the scene because Superman doesn't really hurt the guy, just like really throws him into a pinball machine. Really, that's all he does. But I think because a lot of people say Superman shouldn't beat up on people, no matter how douchey. But I think this is a better solution to that. It's just really destroy the guy's truck. It's like
get him laid off. Get him laid off. Get him fired. Get him fired. So destroy the truck. Let him get fired.
Oh yeah, the guy was a jerk. But still, I like how he lets the guy do all the work. He pushes him, and it doesn't work at all. But one thing I think we glazed over, something important to bring up. We got Superman saving people in the oil rig scene.
Oh yeah, that was cool. That was one of the first after Krypton was the first real action scene, and I must say a lot of the action in this was really well done up to a certain point, and I'll get to that eventually.
What did you think about the Superman on fire? Too much?
No.
Yeah. Good. Two things. How some people, Kevin Smith being an example, he loves seeing Batman hit people because the bad guys deserve it.
Yeah.
I can sympathize, but for me, for all heroes, but particularly Superman and Batman, the thing that just delights me to no end is seeing Superman save people.
Oh, yeah.
It's just this feel-good feeling, it's like he's just, Superman saved the guy. It's what heroes do. It's something that sometimes gets lost in big superhero films, just fight the bad guy, protect the people, protect the planet. But I mean, save the people. We got moments of that in here, as we did get moments of that in the Donner film, but still, they're bringing it back, and I'm so happy about that.
The funniest thing, I heard someone and just talking about this, and while they were reviewing the movie or talking about it, it's like, man, they could have done something with this. Like, have the people on the oil rig said, hey, something happened. It was a guy from water, like a guy from under the water. He came up and then he destroyed the oil rig, and then he just swam away. Like have a little Aquaman reference and all. I was like, that would have been cheesy. That would have been cheesy.
Yeah, I've heard some people make that reference or joke that it could have been Aquaman. Yeah. Also, I love the little musical cue and the little shot of Superman. It's like, you think, okay, so how's Superman going to get away from these people? Just think, is he going to jump on board the helicopter? But then he grabs the thing saving the helicopter. There's that big, booming music cue of, Superman straining himself to hold the thing up while they go, because the thing's crumbling underneath his feet. Really good scene.
Yeah.
And then
really
he's
good.
In the water. And then, flashback.
Yes!
To the school.
Where he saves the bus, isn't it?
Well,
yeah,
no.
It was when he...
Sensory overload Magpie.
Powers.
Yeah.
That's my go-to answer for if anyone ever asks me, how's Batman going to defeat Superman in a fight, or without kryptonite? I always say sensory overload. That's the way to attack Superman. Throw flashbang grenades in his eyes. Have lead mixed in with your smoke bombs. Attack the senses. So I'm saying and I love how they address that. Clark, it is a lot to take in Antimatter, especially if he's a kid and these skills are unhoned. It's seeing through people, he's hearing everything around him.
That bit, yeah.
I was so happy to see that. However, I have a really significant nitpick, but I think it's just funny to bring up.
Having help him truly hone everything, kind of get him to fully control it.
Yeah. To give him the focus. It's the scene right there. I love Ma Kent in that scene, played by Diane Lane. She does a good job, I believe, and that scene is really... It's a well-written scene. However, my little visual nitpick with it is it's such a good speech. However, it doesn't come off as cheesy until you kind of see all the people around at the time. It's like, did the teacher really have to bring out all the students to clamor around this one student who's having problems?
Yeah.
I'm saying if it was just her and Ma Kent, no, not her, her, then she brings down Martha Kent, and then just between her and her son, I think that would make the scene a little more moving. But it's fine the way it is. I'm nitpicking at this point, but it's fine. I'm just saying it's a little thing to notice. Good scene for her. Like,
Yeah.
make the world smaller. Focus on my voice, like it's an ocean, and he's in the ocean. But with that, what do you think of the whales?
Whales.
Too much?
Like the mom and baby whale.
That off
I
put some
don't
people in
remember
my
it,
theater.
so obviously it wasn't. I don't remember it, so obviously it wasn't.
That put off some people in my theater. I was like, what? Free Willy?
I was just like, I saw it, and then I saw the symbolism between it, so I was like, okay.
I don't mind. I'm just saying the point that, like, off put some people in my theater. It's just, it's a thing that's kind of, it's out there, but I think it works also. Sorry, are we going to... Oh, wait, is school buses next, right?
Yeah, school bus is next.
Yeah, I like that scene because like it wasn't unrealistic. It was like, well, okay, maybe Liz's tyrant runs off a bridge. It's kind of cliche, but
and then it introduces
happens.
a lot of classical Smallville characters.
They did.
Like
Pete Ross and Lana Lang.
And Whitney Fordman, who was introduced in the Smallville TV show.
Yes. Here's two things. One, a thing that's kind of in this film is that it's taking not like a really adult tone, but I think it's taking a little more of a mature tone, kind of a more modern day tone with that. Because unfortunately, the world is kind of like this, where like Pete Ross, he's not bad. He's not like cursing at Clark. He's using some kind of adult language kids today are using. Like something.
Yes, when I went to school, that happened when I went to school, so not too.
Like something like Log Splash or something like that, you know. Then later on, Lois is a little, she's a little mouthy. But it's her character. I'm single.
We're gonna stop slicing each other's dicks. Come on, we don't need that.
Yeah, that. Well, yeah. What I'm saying is, I guess it's
each other's.
Yeah. With that, I guess I'm just saying that it's kind of the world we live in. It's realistic. In that, I was saying it's something Superman we never really saw before with Superman. The language never got to that point. It's not cursing, it's just kind of more adult. We never really got that with Superman. We got that in some of the animated films, but now we're kind of getting that in live action. It was a little jarring for me at first, but I mean, it didn't detract me from the film. But also, him saving the bus. Good scene, and this is a really important thing, because after this is the big splitting point, because people at this point, after that scene, they will either get off the movie or get on the movie, because it's a really out there idea.
Mm-hmm.
The Jonathan Kent scene.
You gotta keep your powers a secret, Clark.
Well, I mean the whole,
with that, also like, well, he's so invested to try and protect his family, it's something that Clark would have to consider at that age. Is, well, either you got to be more stealthy about the way you save people, or you just got to let them die, which is a hard lesson to learn. Admittedly, it took me aback when I heard him say it. It was like, well, no, because Clark would never do that. He would never be able to let someone die. If he can prevent it, he's going to try. He's not. That's my opinion on it. Is that it would never come up anyway. So he's just trying to give him a choice. It's like, yeah, you may have to let people die to keep your secret. But it never can. Like, how often is a tire going to blow out and a busload of kids going to go into a river around him?
Have you seen
every single time.
Yeah, I've seen Smallville.
Everything back into Smallville.
Could be like any number of crypto freaks, but no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But that's, again, it is a dividing point, and I'm on board for it. When I saw the film, I was on board for it. But I do recognize, as you do, Magpie, that it is jarring. It is kind of an idea that can split some people. And that, John Kent saying, maybe you should have let him die. But, yeah, Clark, he shouldn't let him die, but it's an idea that comes back later in the film a few times, which is interesting. But, John Kennedy just wants to keep him safe, and it's kind of more that kind of government distrust. They want to control everything or oversee everything. They keep you like a prisoner, is what he's saying. And it is, I guess I can wrap my mind around it, because, it is going from a good place. He's just trying to protect his son, and he's saying, exactly what you're saying, man, He's saying, you need to recognize that there are some people you save, some people, it's good to save people, but if you do that, you're going to be noticed, and you don't want to be noticed by the wrong people. You got to be more stealthy about the way you go about it. But he didn't really teach him how to be stealthy. He just wanted him to stop.
Yeah, I think it's a lesson he learned going forward. Anyway.
Also, it's fun that he saved Pete Ross after all he said, and then later on he becomes his buddy, which I thought was a nice touch.
Yeah.
Well, in the comics, Pete Ross and Clark Kent are like great best friends.
What do we think about Jonathan Kent as he's played by Kevin Costner in this film?
I enjoyed it. That was perfect casting in my mind.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty hard to get away from the what's the name of that movie?
Glenn Ford.
No. The
which one?
Field of Dreams.
Field of Dreams.
So, I was really glad. I thought he did a good job. I would like to see some more flashbacks in the next one where you maybe not as many as this one, but a few more with him in it, because I like the idea of the two dads in this. You got the biological father and the father that raised him.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really, he did a good job. And I'm glad we got to see some more of the father this time than we did in the original Superman.
Yeah, I'm going to say this. I'm sorry, Mister, you were saying?
No, I wasn't saying anything.
I thought you were going to say. Okay, the thing that Jonathan is Kevin Costner. I see both Superman's father figures in here. Basically, I don't see the actor. I see the character because I think they did that good a job with it. However, I think, again, it's not that they're mad at Kevin Costner, people that just really don't like the film. It's that idea is just a little too jarring for him about, let him die. Again, that is a dividing factor of the film. Last time I'll bring it up. So.
Yeah.
Also, the scene where, there's that great line where it says, "Can't I just go back to pretending I'm your son?" It says, "You are my son."
I'm my son. And he hugs him.
That's beautiful.
That moment kind of almost made me... That moment teared me up.
Yeah, I was like, yes, that's it. And even in when I saw it in the trailers, like it always had that emotional impact for me. That one line, it's like that's that to me that's a great moment in the movie. It's one of my favorite moments is that moment.
I'm gonna say one last thing about the Kents.
Yeah,
I think. I'm saying the film as it is can stand alone. I mean, the film's still fine with that. However, I will say this: if I were Zack Snyder, I were to go by a pass of the script or pass of something one last time. I would have done it one last time because I think the Kents. I think what would have saved it and kind of avoided some of the flack is if you had one more scene with the Kents and just kind of show them imparting their morals on Clark, because it's more them preparing him for the future. It's more like, saying stay hidden, you're here for a reason, we don't know what it is yet. Which is from the Richard Donner film, by the way. But I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead here because I know that comes a little later. But, it says, in the Richard Donner film, there's that great line by Glenn Ford. I love this line. "Son, I don't know why you're here, but all I know is that you are here for a reason. I don't know what that reason is. It's something along those lines. You are here for a reason." He hears it when he's in the clouds in the Donner Superman. But yeah, it's they're imparting the lesson that, you're here for a reason, we don't know what it is, and, just stay hidden, stay safe. We want you to stay safe, and you'll find out in time. They're preparing him for that, what they don't know. But still, we don't see them giving him... When Cavill's Superman, he has those morals. We just don't see them impart that on him. But then again, I guess it's assumed in this, so it's fine. But we got a real touching scene with Martha Kent. I just wish we have one more scene with Jonathan Kent or the both of them just kind of seeing Clark or them being nice to someone. Really, sorry, I'm going along about this last thing I'm going to say, but sorry, I keep saying last thing. I think what maybe could have saved it, because we didn't see them find Clark in the ship. I think maybe if we saw that scene, that could have been it. But we didn't need the scene, but I think it could have also kind of shown these two kind folks. They find this baby and they take it upon their responsibility to raise him. And I guess that could have been the scene to save it. But yeah, it's fine. That's all I got to say.
All right. Unless anyone else has got some stuff to say about all the stuff before we see him in the suit. Wait. Let's talk about the scene in Alaska or wherever it is, the North Pole, wherever they are. Yeah, I'll let you two talk about that for a bit. I'll be right back, guys. Hang on.
All right.
Keep talking.
Okay.
All right. Scene in Canada. What you think about it, Blue Dragon 5?
Well, I like how we have Clark Kent. He's not exactly reporter Clark Kent yet, but he's still kind of. He's playing it smart in that he hears. He's been searching around. He's been going around the world. He's been kind of looking for his place in the world, kind of learning as he goes. It's really just kind of waiting for an opportunity to find out what he's here for. And he finally hears about this ship that landed about the time he did. And he goes there, and that's him proactively going there. And I love all the assumed names because there's some reference to the creators of Superman, which I thought was a nice nod. Yeah, Joe Shuster. And there were other aliases, but I think maybe Jerry Siegel might have been in there. It could be jumping the gun, but I think it'd be a nice touch if that was true.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
My mind, alas, that scene, well, just that entire moment, I felt like it was a good moment for him to first meet Lois Lane, unofficially, but then at the exact same time officially, and a good precursor to introducing the Chamber.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Also, there was a big risky thing in this, and I think it played out well. You instantly know, the minute Lois Lane sees, or bearded, but still, how does he shave? But still, bearded Superman, bearded Clark Kent, she's gonna know it, and if they tried to pass it off that she didn't know, unless he could do, again, kind of a Christopher Reeve about it, unless he could do a really good job passing off. I'm not saying he couldn't do it, I'm saying we didn't see it, but I'm saying that it'd be almost impossible for her not to put the pieces together if she saw the guy. Say up close. I mean, that was a big gamble, because I'm sure some people in theater are saying, if she doesn't get this, she's stupid. I mean, more than... We give Lois Lane some liberties, and Clark Kent plays it well. I'm just saying, it's kind of a big moment, because she has to know now. And she does find out, which is really, really good. More on that later, though. Let's focus on the meeting. I'm sorry, Magpie. Go ahead.
Yeah, the meeting in that. Which meeting were we talking about?
Well, just the whole scene, but I guess the meeting between her and just Lois Lane's introduction.
I really like
Amy Adams.
Amy Adams.
Oh, I love
really,
her.
I've liked her since I first saw her in Cruel Intentions 2. She's really cool. I like the direction. She's been playing the nice girl quite a while now. So she did her nice girl thing for this, and I really like her cast as Lois Lane. I actually wish she probably had a little bit more to do. Not a great deal, but when they first, yeah, but I still feel like she comes off still a little bit to me as the damsel in distress a little bit more. I want some more of that especially first season Lois and Clark, Lois Lane in this a bit more than what we got here. I'm hoping we get that later on, but I mean there was not a lot she had. I wish she still had a little bit more to do. She does quite a bit. But going through this, she shows up and she's doing a story on something. It's pretty out there, so that's cool. I liked the guy from SVU in this too, by the way.
Well, Christopher Maloney's in this. Is that him? Or do you mean the Emil Hamilton?
I don't know. I'm sorry.
What-haired guy?
The balding guy. Yeah. The guy that's the colonel. Yeah.
That's Christopher Maloney.
Yeah. He's real. I like him in this.
He voiced Green Lantern once.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
Sorry.
So, and the guy from West Wing that plays the scientist guy.
Dr. Emil Hamilton.
Yeah.
Richard Schiff.
Yeah. I should have had the cast list up in front of me. But yeah, both of them are great in this. The whole team coming together in this scene. Initially, you're not too sure what they're going to do, which is really good. I like that. And then, of course, you go to the ship, and you see the whole a la AVP1 as a perfect circle, and going through, and you're wondering what's going to happen with Lois Lane and that. You see someone walking around. You think it's Zod. I thought at first it was going to be Zod that was in the ship, and I was like, oh, we're going to see Zod and Superman on screen for the first time. But no, then you find out it's not. It's his dad walking around, and and that's really cool. Like, and of course the ship flies off and everything. It's really
Fortress of Solitude.
Yeah, and you think that's what it is. It's the Fortress of Solitude.
It is.
Well, is it?
No, and well, it was for the shortest amount of time though, for the movie, and then it's when it's gone. No more Fortress.
I actually had a brief theory about the Fortress when I first saw it. I was like, wait a minute, is this the Fortress or is this Zod's ship? And like you saw two dead bodies in there, and at first I thought, oh my god, like Zod's in this ship and she's going to unearth him. Like she's like, all these guys are in there, they're going to be unleashed when the Fortress is activated.
Yeah.
When the thing's activated. That's what I thought at first, but then it was like the Fortress and, the key went in there is... Oh yeah. But yeah, Amy Adams is my... I'm sorry, Mr. User.
By the way, did anyone see the open chamber?
Which one?
In the ship. The only open chamber.
Yeah.
Elaborate.
Yeah, so there's what you see an open chamber in the ship. And
if you read the prequel, like the prequel comic, I haven't read the prequel comic, but
I heard
it's
about
like,
it, didn't find it.
It centers around Kara. It centers around Supergirl. And she is in a spaceship. They get zipped up. And she is the first person to awaken from a chamber. That chamber stays open. Then you see this movie, you look at it, there's a chamber open.
Oh. I want to read that prequel. I couldn't find it. It wasn't in my shop. Darn it.
So,
Interesting.
Supergirl is in this universe.
Oh, that's cool. I want this now.
Unless they retcon it and my other theory is it could be Brainiac.
But
we kind of got Brainiac in this, and I'll get to that.
Well, they didn't say it wasn't Brainiac, and they could open the possibility. Remember, the animated series did that first. They made him Brainiac. They made the Kryptonian technology Brainiac on the animated series first. But let me, just going to wrap up with my thoughts here. Amy Adams, my favorite screen Lois Lane. As much as I love Margot Kidder, I think Amy Adams might be my favorite.
Movie-wise, I'll go with you on it.
Margot Kidder?
Live action movie-wise, I'll go with you on
it. Amy Adams, pretty girl, good actress. She was great in Catch Me If You Can, and also The Muppets, fantastic. Also Enchanted. She's good in Enchanted too. But the meeting between the two. It's a good meeting. We get that kind of animated series Lois Lane, which is my favorite interpretation. One of my favorite interpretations of Lois. She's the animated series Lois Lane. I think she had the tenacity that she had. She's getting into dangerous situations. She's more capable damsel in distress Lois Lane. you know, like she's investigating, she's going in there, like she gets in trouble. I mean, come on. Would you take a picture of something floating in front of you that looks menacing?
Yes.
Doesn't it? Alright.
Just looking at me like this. You're going on my Facebook page.
But also, yeah, the good mid, he saves Lois Lane. He saves her a few times, but here he literally saves her life and he cauterizes her wound.
Yeah.
It's getting kind of dark for a Superman film, but you know, it's still.
Yeah, this is gonna hurt. Yeah, it's gonna hurt.
Oh man, her scream still sticks in my mind from that. But
I was like,
yeah,
this is gonna hurt for a little bit. What? Ah! Oh, I should have told you it was gonna hurt a lot though.
Yeah, but yeah, I just in that moment I was realizing, oh my god, he's saving Lois Lane for the first time. That's so nice.
And not from a helicopter.
Yeah. Well, don't get me wrong, the helicopter's awesome, but still, yeah. You know, that and also
it's not in Metropolis.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And the fortress does look neat, even though it's a metal ship. You know, it's still pretty cool. And it's a shame that it doesn't last, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that later. But yeah, it's just really worked for me. And again, Emil Hamilton, I just realized, oh my, Emil Hamilton's in this. I wonder what they're going to do with him, because I don't know if you're aware of this, Magpie. But Emil Hamilton, he's kind of, sometimes he's Superman's Lucius Fox, sometimes he's kind of sometimes he's working for LexCorp, sometimes he's for the most part sometimes he's in league with Cadmus, but animated series he was the Lucius Fox, but later on he worked for Cadmus, and kind of by the government, so he's kind of working against Superman because he's scared of him.
Okay.
So I didn't know what they were going to do with Emil Hamilton. I didn't know if he was going to work for Lex or be the bridge to Lex. I didn't know.
We'll find out, hopefully.
Yes.
Down the road.
Yes. Well, he's dead. He's dead, Magpie.
He's dead?
Yeah,
he's dead.
He was in the ship.
Yeah, okay. Well...
Or Lois Lane got pushed out, but everyone else, they're dead.
They're dead.
Sorry.
Hey, spoiler alert!
Yeah, I forgot about that.
We mentioned that earlier. Remember we said he was from Krypton and it exploded?
Yeah.
It's like saying Batman's parents were murdered. Oh crap, I spoiled it. Sorry. But also, it did like the Gwen Stacy thing with the relationship from the Amazing Spider-Man here. That's it. That's all I got.
Okay. Anything else before we get to all the suit stuff?
Nope.
Wait, should we? Do we see her figure? Are we going to talk about her figuring it out?
Well, yeah. Let's talk about that.
No, wait. Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. He was in the suit before that. You're right. We can just go to the suit now if you'd like.
No. Let's touch on that. Where she shows up at the grave of the dad and
we get
everything.
A flashback.
Yeah.
I love that scene, by the way, of her at the grave. It's just that's a powerful scene to me.
Yeah, it is. I thought it was risky, you know. I was like, okay, how are they going to get out of this one? How are they going to get out of this one?
Get out of what?
Sort of thing.
Her knowing it?
Yeah, I was wondering, are they going to take this back somehow?
Nope.
And I was like, watching all the way through, and they don't take it back. Because she knows he's Clark Kent, and I mean, he's walking around town without his glasses on, so okay. But still, they don't take that back, and I'm like, okay.
Oh, I should. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was like, okay. We're not gonna go that way. We're gonna take this in a completely new direction for on film. Lois Lane knows Clark Kent is Superman from the get-go, and that to me is making this a lot more interesting going forward, because there's places we can go now where we haven't been before, really, on film. So that is really interesting. Like. That to me is interesting. We can go to different. Maybe we couldn't have pre Superman 4 and Return. So we're going into new territory, which is always a good idea for these films.
I think Manos, the real Manos, he phrased it best in a way that just elated me to no end. He pointed out something it was like so obvious and apparent in front of me. I'm embarrassed I didn't figure it out, but it was just really cool the way he phrased it. He said that Amy Adams is Lois Lane in this film is basically she's Superman.
Oh,
It just
okay.
dawned on me, like, oh my god, that's it. That's why I like her so much. Yeah, I'm a big Gordon fan. Yeah, he's right. He's kind of she is in this film involved, kind of like Gordon is. You know, she helps him out. Only difference is she's in on it, which is really good. But should we? Also, I like how she finds out, and again, it makes sense. She's seen the guy's face, and she has some information to go on, like the whole alias. Her finding out, as you said, which is really smart. And
we don't take it back, which is good.
And it goes to Pete Ross in IHOP, which is I thought was a nice gag. Yeah, I like how he's friends with Clark. Okay. But we got 2 flashbacks left, I believe. Well, technically 3, but before we approach the Twister, we should approach he almost punches the kid, remember?
Yeah, where he grips the steel fence behind him, and there's a great big dent in it. And I was like, man, he really wanted to hit that kid.
I'm saying that was Whitney Fordman.
Huh. Why is everyone in Smallville a bully?
Yeah.
Well, he's different, you see. He's different, and he's very...
Yeah, he's reading. Very... That's different.
No.
What?
It's this. He's reading Plato.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe it's like a history thing, too.
Yeah, my thing is that he's always been a loner, and he's not really making a lot of friends. He's sort of like the kid that's got a social social problems. I gather is the thing, and people just don't like him. He's very lonely and and isolates himself because he's afraid of hurting anyone.
I think it's a race thing. I think they hate him because he's Kryptonian.
Yeah.
It's a lame joke, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I suppose so.
But, yeah, it was a good scene. The thing that really sells it for me is I love how Pete Ross helps him up. You know, helps his buddy up. Now he's coming around. They're pals now. It's like bullies turn friends like Flash Thompson to Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And, also the Jonathan Kent in that scene, how do you feel about Jonathan Kent, saying, I wish you would have hit him. I would have hit him too. I kind of wanted you to hit him too, but you're here for a reason. Again, it's more of that reason talk. We have half of that more emotionally connecting scene, but we don't really get the full thing. It's more him talking about you shouldn't hit him because it wouldn't do any good. Which I guess that's kind of the scene I'm describing. I'm looking for. It just it kind of devolves into the whole "you're here for a reason" thing. Which is fine. It's just, again, I don't know. It's not a bad scene at all. I'm just saying I want one more of those. I guess what I'm saying.
Okay.
Twister?
Yeah. You want to? Okay, we'll talk about the Twister now. Because to me, the Twister scene, I was wondering. I knew we were going to that spot where he died, where Jonathan Kent dies. I knew we were going to eventually get there.
You were expecting him to die.
Yeah, that's the big thing is, mind you, I liked in Lois and Clark that the dad was still alive because I really liked the actor that played the dad, and that. By the way, he's a great actor. He plays a great villain as well. But I just thought we knew that's where we were going, and I thought, okay, he's going to have a heart attack and the car's going to crash and he's going to save his mum, but he can't save the dad. Something along those lines. But I like that they got into a fight there, and he just can't go out and save the dad. I thought because he could have, and that gives him more pain and more suffering. That's real to me. That's really good. he could have saved him, but it would have he would have had to reveal himself to a whole bunch of other people, and that was the lesson his dad had been teaching him all from the beginning. Sometimes you just gotta let him die, and I love that the father was willing to sacrifice himself to protect his son in secret. It's another very powerful scene, and a moment I really loved because I was like, and that was really good. Like I thought, they're taking risks with this this movie that we couldn't have earlier with Superman. Like it's not a heart attack. It's not something. It's something that he could have prevented, but he. And to me, it's a little bit more powerful than the father having a heart attack in the first one. But it's two different things as well, which that sort of lead him on this path.
What do you think, Mr. E?
Oh, I liked it. That's all
you like seeing him die. You really loved seeing Kevin Costner die on
sick
screen.
SOB.
Well, I was expecting him to die. I really had nothing like, oh, he's gonna die. I'm expecting it.
I did not expect it, actually.
I knew he was going to die. It's just one of those things now. Ever since the 70s, they were like, oh, we're always going to kill Jonathan Kent. So I was just like, all right, I'm used to it now.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's a thing to have to expect. But I mean, in this one though, I don't know, seeing Jor-El getting murdered, and I don't know. I just thought. I was going into thinking, again, it was going to be something a little more different. I thought, well, maybe we'll get a Jonathan Kent that actually lives, because like in the animated series and the comics for a while, I mean, eventually they all kill someone off and they come back. It's a whole thing. But I mean, Jonathan Kent, I was expecting him to live, at least for a few movies, and maybe the heart attack come later. But I don't know. I mean, it was a surprise to me how he died, because again, even when in this scene, it looked like he was going to die, I'll admit that. So I mean, I started to get the pieces, started to fit together when the scene was going on. Oh no, it's getting a little dark. The scene's getting intense. Saying, "You're not my father," which I think's a little forced, but he has a good point. I just think it's a little forced topic while he's driving.
It's a teenage thing,
I mean, yeah. He's justified in thinking that, but I mean, kind of the setting of this argument.
Yeah.
Also, I think what people there are two misconceptions about this scene. One, I think if there are some people who think Kevin Costner doesn't do a good job as Jonathan Kent, I think what they're seeing is, again, you're entitled to your opinion, anyone listening, but I just think that it's a misconception in that it's him not reacting that much. It's more him internalizing his pain, kind of realize it's a real moment when he says, "You're not my father," and he reacts realistically, saying, "No, Martha, he's entitled to his opinion. He's right." That whole thing, and I like the moment. The moment really also sells that for me. In that moment, is when Clark's about to apologize, but then then the twister happens. Mm-hmm. That to me is a good understated moment, I think. But also, the big toss-up that really, again, it's another one of those things. Again, a lot of it involves Jonathan Kent. The whole make-or-break factor of the film is this scene also. Because really, it's going to take people out of it, saying, well, he let his father die. In the original, which I love the scene in the original, because, again, it's kind of the same point, but kind of not. It's Jonathan, it's basically, I was all these powers and I couldn't save them. Which is a wonderful thing in that first film.
The difference in this one is he could have saved him, but it would require him revealing his secret.
Exactly. It's kind of the same thing in that he still couldn't save him, and he had the power to. But, it's the father in this case saying, don't save me. I'm protecting you. Don't save me. And there is that theme of kind of the government overreacting, or people not either overreacting or kind of, well, I guess the only word I have for it's overreacting at the moment, but you know what I mean. Kind of the government taking a little more control than should, and that they're gonna get involved. Clark make trouble for him if they do find out he has all these powers. It's kind of him. Jonathan Kent feared what would happen when his son revealed himself to the world. It's like that parent in all of us wondering, the parent in everyone kind of thinking, is my kid gonna be able to make it without me? Like, what will happen in their future if they're not sure of what they're doing right now? And so, it's kind of punctual with the scene. They're talking about the future. Like, well, you want to be a farmer? I get a feeling he's saying that he wants to go into journalism or something.
Yeah.
It doesn't say it, but yeah. Sorry, I'm prattling on here. But also, what do you think about him going back for the dog?
It's Martha's dog.
My mum has a dog, and I love that dog to death. So I don't mind it. I know people will probably come on, oh, it's so silly, but it's alright.
Did they have the same dog later on, or do we just assume the
dog died? No, that was
died?
a different dog.
I assume I'm assuming that they like that species of dogs, so they've got a few.
You didn't call it crypto.
Well, I was assuming how 7 years and all. This is 2013. That was 1997.
He's 20 in that. Now he's 30.
Yeah, they'd probably have a new dog.
Probably, but it'd be hilarious if they called it crypto, but they're not. But yeah, I think that's all I got to say on that scene. It's a moving scene nonetheless, and of course the ending line that just sells that entire scene for me. I'm saying, even if you don't like it, you have to admit this is a moving line coming from Cavill. It's this line where he's talking to Lois.
My father believed that if the world found out who I really was, they'd reject me out of fear. He was convinced that the world wasn't ready. What do you think?
There's that, but I mean the line right before that also more. It's the whole thing. I let my father die to protect me, to keep me hidden. I let my father die. That's the line. Because he wanted to protect me. Because he didn't believe. I'm paraphrasing here because you said it perfectly, but because he wanted me to be hidden from the world because he feared the world wasn't ready for me. Do you think I'm ready? That sort of thing.
Well,
again, great setting for the scene.
I quoted it verbatim because I'm looking at it right now.
Oh. Well, yeah, just that line before it, though. I had that, and that's perfect right there. But so, yeah, that's a good scene between him, Lois, and that flashback's well integrated for, why he's hiding, why he's not Superman yet. Even if just if it's T-shirt and jeans Superman, that's why he's not Superman yet. Or the Blur.
Oh, the Blur.
Well, technically, he is a much better version of the Blur, just not in costume. But I think that's all I got to say on the scene. I think I've gone on long enough about it.
All right.
Ready for the suit?
All right, now. Yeah, okay, the suit.
Into the journey to the suit.
Yeah. I like the suit overall in this. I think it works in the film. I had some concerns of the suit in film when I first saw that picture. I liked the top half of it. It's just the legs. I thought were a little bit.
Because there weren't any red underpants.
Yeah, but we kind of get a hint towards that with the belt. So was the belt supposed to be keeping up as a belt type thing?
Well, the belt's not red.
No, it's not red. But I thought it was a cool, okay, we know he's not wearing underpants on the outside. But I didn't really miss that in this because we don't really see a lot of him below the S quite often. But I think the suit really works for this, and I love how he doesn't fly straight up the first thing, but I love that he flies with both fists stretched right out when we first see him and that. And I really thought it was awesome that this all comes together, and then of course coincidentally Zod decides to show up. So yeah, well let's talk about that.
The ship was activated. That's how we found them.
Yeah. So that was really good how he integrated that in all together. let's just focus on that first time we see where he suits up, and then the first few scenes, because I think then we can talk about Zod and his whole plan after that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Let me few things about the suit up. Of course, it's him meeting his birth father, which is a momentous occasion. The thing is, we get the backstory of Krypton. We're done with this. It's based off some sort of like art and architecture. The moving faces on the metal.
Yeah.
That he gets his backstory about Zod. Because Zod's an integral part of what happened to Krypton. So it buys that it's believable that he wouldn't know about Zod. And there's that, but also I like this kind of subtle thing. Because you don't know exactly how the S symbol got on the costume. Because I'm just assuming that it's like the native colors of the planet, or that's why it's like blue, and that's why it's blue and red.
Mm.
That's my assumption. It's kind of like Wonder Woman. She donned the native colors of the land.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of my assumption. Like each planet, each one of these going, it's a suit, but it's colored differently, and maybe with a different symbol. But I heard a really good theory about how he gets the S on there, because at first I was going in the theory, like, how did he get the S on there if he didn't know? Because I had two theories. One, I thought Jor-El personally sent this ship out because he was a scientist, and maybe he found this planet and he sent it there with his symbol on there. Then I thought maybe it's just coincidence that Jor-El means that, Jor-El's family crest is hope, and that's just the symbol they want to get across the galaxy, hope. But the one I heard from Kevin Smith that was really great, I'm on board for this one 100%. When he puts the key in there, just inscribes the S on the crest.
I think that works. Yeah.
It works fine for me. That's great. Also, I love the little. It's kind of a nod to the crystal, but it's a little better. I get as much as I love the crystal. I think this is even cooler. Little Kryptonian data key.
Yeah.
Which I want for a necklace. It looks so cool. The S symbol just locks in there. I like I wore it around like a necklace too. That's neat looking. But also I like after he did suit up, and there's that great shot because they're teasing it. He's walking out there, first in shadow, then you see the suit. About the red underpants though, I'm okay with it because it's brighter in color than the Superman Returns. I know some people say it's darker. I don't see it. I see more vibrant colors, bigger symbol. The cape looks phenomenal. I love how the cape looks.
Oh yeah, the cape is awesome.
Oh, the cape sells in the
CG
bigger
cape.
colors. What?
CG cape.
I know. At times though, it's real though.
The majority of the action scenes use a CGI cape.
Yeah, that's all right.
True.
I'm looking up trivia right now, so.
At times it is practical though, and even practical or CG, it looks great. But the thing about the red underpants, the only thing I'm going to say about it is I'm okay with that because you got all that other stuff kind of compensating for that. However, I hope they didn't get rid of it because of the New 52, because I would hate that. Two, I will give this to the New 52's credit. They made the belt red, which I think, maybe could have sold it, just kind of saying, okay, still got a little bit of it on there, but it's fine. I'm nitpicking about that. Just like a little red in the shorts there. We could have had red for the shorts, just covering that as a belt or something. But I'm not crazy about the reason it was left out. Kind of Zack Snyder saying that, I kind of agree with Ralph Garman when he says this, that it's, said it's unbelievable this guy would have red underpants on the outside of his suit. I kind of see what Snyder's going for, but I don't see why you couldn't have it. It's work it into the design. Modernize it a little. It's a classical look. The reason they had it was because it was the strongman look back in the 30s. I'm nitpicking. It looks fine because all the other stuff looks so great. You forget about it. Works with the whole chainmail armor look, and onto the flying. Flying was great, and what I geeked out over in the theater was he leaped before he flew. He leaped over tall buildings, but instead of buildings, it was mountains. He was leaping before he flew. I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, so cool.
It's hard to believe, but we're an hour and a half in, and we're probably an hour and a half in when the movie was going on, because I swear to God, let's move along here as quickly as we can. Let's talk about all the stuff that happens with Zod up until the final battle, because I've got some stuff to say about that.
Sid Part 2 can go for 3 hours on Dark Knight Rises. I don't see why we can't go 3 hours on Man of Steel.
Man of Steel.
We should do that. Only we don't talk about Godzilla erotica.
Okay, but yeah, I'm sure though a lot of people want us to talk about Zod now. Zod coming to Earth.
Yes.
That was interesting, the way he sort of announces, okay,
my name is Jack.
I want the last son of Krypton sort of thing. I want him.
You are not alone.
Yeah, you're not alone. It's sort of reaching this hand out of friendship. He's not going to go down there and fight him, but he's like.
Well, he is threatening them though. It's kind of a threat, but it's more of a vague threat. He says, surrender him or there will be trouble.
Yeah.
But you know the line that I love in that address though?
Yeah.
It's we've traveled through an ocean of stars. I love that line.
Yeah, I love that. I like that too. But my whole thing is that he comes there and he sort of offers this hand of friendship out to him, and but he already knows that he's not to be trusted.
Well, he doesn't know he killed his father, Magpie.
No, he doesn't know, but he knows there's something about this guy that's like, his dad's already told him that he's not to be trusted. Yeah. And of course you're going to trust your dad, but except for me. No, but
I love I love the priest scene.
Yeah, me too. I love that scene as well. But
it just has. It could be silly, it could be just purely comedic, but what really sells is that he's genuine about what's happening in that scene. It's just him saying, what do you have? He's like, the priest is saying, "Oh my God, you're him," but he's doing it politely. He's like gulping. He says, "How do you feel in your gut?" He says, "Well, I don't. He can't be trusted. I don't like it." He says, "Well, maybe put some trust in us," and that comes back in the end. That scene. Remember, he says, "Maybe you have to put a little trust in humanity." And at the end, he does that.
That's true. But I get the impression he's been to that church a few times, and that's why you can trust that priest. But I really like that Zod shows up and he doesn't initially want to kill Superman, and he's not on a quest for revenge. He just wants to rebuild his world. And I'm like, I didn't think about this until now, but why does he have to do it on Earth? Why can't he just pick up Clark, and go off somewhere and rebuild his world somewhere else? Am I missing something, guys?
Well, I think it's let me see. He doesn't want to just gain powers, because then he'd just stay on Earth, because he's trying to change it to Kryptonian atmosphere. Let's see. I think it's because it has something to do with like the life module, doesn't it? No, not life module. I mean, it has something to do with, it's like sustainable life. It can sustain once it's changed. I don't know. I'm trying to think why it is. Wait, I remember. It's I'm trying to think. I think it's like one of the few remaining the stasis chamber, like the Fortress of Solitude, has like the Kryptonian means to make the thing.
Yeah, why doesn't he just take the ship and then just go off and?
Well, he is looking. Well, keep in mind, he's looking for the Codex throughout the movie, so he can't leave until he finds the Codex.
Yeah.
Then he basically gets distracted, and then once he finds the Codex, he's just deciding to Earth because he's trying to spite him at that point, I believe.
Yeah, okay.
I guess that's the reason. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, let me just finish up my thing before we get to the final battle. so it gets picked up, and then of course, then they decide, okay, we don't just want him, we want Lois as well. So they take Lois up and everything, and I like that Lois sort of does show some brains here. She figures out, okay, I'll put the key in, blah blah blah. She gets, and then I was like, oh god, is it going to be Jarrell's psychic presence is going to be the hero of this film, because he goes around and points out to where all the bad guys are as she blasts away, and she's actually a pretty good shot, which is really awesome.
Well, she is an army brat. Well, I don't know if she is in this version, but in the comic she is.
Yeah, I thought it'd be interesting if the colonel was actually her dad.
Yeah, I thought that too when I first saw it, when he was like arrested her at the FBI. Oh my God, we forgot Perry White. But at the deal,
don't worry, we're going to get to him. I just want to get to Zod and that first, and then we're going to talk about minor characters as well. Other characters.
Yeah, the FBI.
Other key characters. Yeah. The FBI. I forgot it. Sorry, we forgot about that. The FBI gets her.
Easter eggs as we can think of.
Yeah, but I want to move along with the main plot first,
right.
and then we'll go off, because I actually like Zod in this up to a point, and I really want to get up to that point.
I think his motivations are great.
Yeah, it works. He works really well, and of course, it's not initially villainous things, and then till you see all the skulls on the ground, which I thought was awesome. It's very Terminator 2 opening scene of Terminator 2-ish, where he sinks into all the skulls, and he's like, "No, Zod, no!" And it's like, yeah.
Brilliant visual storytelling on Snyder's part. He's good at that sort of stuff. Looks wonderful.
And I like that they take Superman's powers away without using kryptonite.
Yeah. That's another idea. Just take some time to sink in. It's an interesting. It's never been done before, to my knowledge. Just the atmosphere affecting him like kryptonite, because it is from Krypton, and he's not used to it.
Yeah, but it takes his power away without killing him, which is really awesome.
I have a nitpick about that later on, though.
And of course, then they switch the power on, and he's like, then my thing was, okay, he can use the power, but why can't everyone else? But obviously, that comes later. And then, of course, he goes off, saves Lois, blah blah blah, and does his thing.
There's that great shot where Jarrell opens the ship, and you're seeing this great shot of the capes flying out there, and he says, "Son, you are a hope, and you can save her. You can save them all."
That's what the symbol means.
And of course, Lois knows how to put him in the Phantom Zone, which is awesome.
Oh yeah.
And then the fight.
Turn your head left, please. Yeah, Zod was more sympathetic here. Something we have with the other one. The other was just literally a conqueror. This one, it's kind of. I'm transitioning to the fight here because this is the line that literally triggers the fight. Wait, which are we talking about? Smallville fight or Metropolis fight?
Oh, I want to be on.
We get the Smallville one first.
You're right. I don't know. I thought I didn't know where we were jumping to, but yeah, the opening to that fight though was when. I should get to my nitpick now because it starts in this scene. It starts the fight. Okay, here's my problem with it. Unless you guys can tell me something around this, because I would love for someone to prove me wrong on this. I really do, because I want this to be a really good film. Which it is. It's just the thing. It's kind of bothering me. Yeah, it's Zod, when he's threatening Martha Kane, he's looking for the Codex, looking for the spaceship which has the Codex, he thinks. Okay, we see that they're in the suits and they're wearing the air apparatus so they don't breathe so they have Kryptonian air.
Yeah.
They don't know what gives them strength yet. Okay, so here's the thing. He flips the truck into the house. So we're to assume at that moment he's affected by the yellow sun, and apparently he doesn't notice that. Flips the truck, so he has super strength, so he's being affected by the sun, yet he can't later on, right after that, when Superman in a
Oh, okay.
scene,
I think I know what you're getting at.
he's attacking Superman. Well, Superman's attacking, which is a great thing. You think you can attack my mother? Threaten my mother? Which is great. But then, of course, like we saw earlier, which I love how he defeats Zod. I still don't get it. I love how he sensory overload, which is a wonderful way to defeat Zod. The mask comes off and he's getting all the senses there. He's seeing through people, he's hearing everything, and that he can't deal with it, the stress. Superman had almost a lifetime to deal with that, like for up to his 30s. But here's the thing. The problem is, if he's being affected by the yellow sun already with the super strength, you're telling me he can't see through the mask with supervision, he can't hear through it? That's my problem.
Yeah, my thing is he can't figure that out yet. The sensory overload affects him. Yeah, okay, fair enough. So what is it? Your main point is he can't figure it out?
I'm saying no. It's not that he can't figure it out. I'm saying that he should already be affected by it when he's doing the truck flip. He should, if he can flip the truck, he's being affected by the stuff.
Okay. Well, my assumption is the yellow sun gives them. They figured out that much that the yellow sun gives them strength, but it's not until they inhale the atmosphere that they get the rest of the key powers that you're talking about.
I guess that's works. Again, I'm still just waiting for more. Again, I'll take that as something. Again, take that as something.
That's my theory. Is that they're not fully exposed to it all yet.
Yes, if it's sort of like a photosynthesis sort of thing, like they're being physically affected. Like Superman gets affected by it, he can see, but then again, he doesn't have a helmet on. So I don't know. Yeah. I'm just assuming that I never really considered him breathing in the air. I guess I would just assume if his body's being affected, then so would his the senses. He would see through the mask, so he'd be affected by the sun. I don't know. I'll take that for something. If anyone in the comments, I implore you, if you can figure out anything around that, please tell me. Please leave in the comments.
I think his armor does it. His armor.
Yeah, I thought that too. It might be the armor as well.
I want to say that, but I don't think the armor's that powerful. It's nothing to say it isn't, but I don't know. I'm still saying it's strong enough to flip a truck.
Fair enough.
I don't know. That's all. That's my only complaint with that scene, because it's an awesome scene. Don't get me wrong. I love how he defeats him. It's just that's really my only genuine complaint about the film. So really, if that gets solved, I'm fine with this film completely.
Oh, I got another big one, man.
Those I can find. I know what you're talking about. I think I can find a way around those. But anyway, that's just for me. I'm sorry. Keep going. Smallville fight. Just to read start. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you want to talk about the Smallville fight? Okay. I'll go through it. I'll go through my thing quick. Okay.
Smallville fans.
Overall, this fight, fine. It works, but you can't tell me nobody else dies in this fight.
Yeah.
Smallville gets practically wiped off the face of the planet in this fight. But yeah, that's my only minor gripe with this.
I kind of forgive and again, some people might roll their eyes at this. I kind of forgive the whole property damage thing, that people should be dying in these scenes. Superman's endangering people. I'll say this. I think I'm kind of go by comic book logic, because this happens a lot in comics, and like Superman Doomsday's guilty of this. It's kind of I always remember like the animators and everything saying, Bruce Timm and everyone, they would say that, okay, people, they're seeing all this chaos going. They've evacuated the buildings. They're going to safe locations. It's got to be empty by now. However, in Smallville, there is this one bit where Superman, at least either he scares, the people in Smallville either head into the building. Superman says, okay, go to safety. It's not safe. They're being all the fights.
They go out the back door or the shops, man. That's my only logical thing about it. Okay, they've gone out the back door. They've gotten into their trucks. They're driving away.
So that's the people at IHOP.
Yeah.
But so yeah, there's that. So too, I don't know. It's just something you have to just kind of assume that people leave the buildings during all this chaos, and there was nowhere safe in the Metropolis scene. I'm assuming they're all on ground level because of the old earthquake sort of thing.
Yeah.
But that I'm just assuming they're leaving if they can. But also they could. I'll get to my thing about Superman later on, like how they could turn this into a strength. But I'm sorry, keep going with Smallville fight.
That's it. I don't have any complaints about it other than that. Yeah, it's all right. I can roll with this one.
I love the nod to literally Non and Ursa. That was brilliant. And like Non didn't speak, and you didn't see. I want that action figure because I have Zod and I have Feora. Who it'd be great if they called her Ursa, but Feora. I forget if it's like the actual character. I think it's the actual character's name. There's a character who's basically like Ursa.
Oh, okay.
And Mala, but she's kind of called Feora. So I mean, take that for what you will, but still, she was great. She looked great, and she did look great. She was like Ursa, but even more menacing. She got a lot of stuff done. I mean, Superman fighting a girl, but I mean, I'm not saying like, oh, Superman fighting a girl. I'm just saying that, yeah, she held her own in this fight. Usually it'd be a point of contention for some. Not contention. I'm just saying like a kind of like a guy versus girl thing that some people may still harbor. Like, oh, Superman's getting his butt kicked by this girl, which you shouldn't have that frame of mind. But you're entitled. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, I guess. But again, she held her own in that fight. She was great. She had this great bit where she's like moving like quickly, like a bird or like a stop motion creature. She's like she's zigging and zagging like the Flash. She's like, you're weak, strangling him in midair. Down, of course, yeah. Non was awesome. Non didn't speak because it's Non. Non doesn't speak. Huge guy.
Well, I actually looked that up. That wasn't Non. That was Namek.
Oh, come on. That's a nod. I mean, I know it's not verbatim nod, but I mean, it's a nod to them. It's like Feora's Ursa, but they're just saying it's Feora.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. They're nods to the original.
Feora is actually from the comics, though.
I know she's from the comics, but in this, basically, everyone going in is just thinking the Superman 2. With these Kryptonian like Zod.
Yeah, I was disappointed that they didn't call them by their Superman 2 names, but that's all right.
Again, Feora from the comics, but still, it's fine, though. I mean, we know who they are. It's based off of. Well, I mean, who they're kind of based off of, even though Feora's in the comics. But IHUB fight, there's this moment in the IHUB fight that cracked me up. I was so expecting Superman in a moment of comedy, kind of like an Iron Man moment, for him to say, "Oh, hi, Pete." When he's like in the IHUB, he's just like, there's this glance between the two of them. I was just, in that pause, I was expecting him to say, "How's it going?" Mark? Would have been just off the wall comedy, and I know I'm winded here, but one last thing about the small thing I have to say before I turn it over to Mr. E. When they did Dark Knight Returns, the animated film, Part 2 with the Superman-Batman fight, it was mentioned that some of the storyboard, one of the storyboard guys from that was working on Man of Steel, and a lot of you can tell the fighting style from this scene and that scene, because they throw in a lot of like using the environment, a lot of really cool stuff, cool action scene stuff, and they have a lot of that in this scene. So you look at that scene when he's fighting Superman, and Superman's fighting Batman in Dark Knight Returns Part 2, it's literally like this scene here in the Smallville scene. It looks really cool, a lot of great smart stuff, like throwing the trains and the IHOP fight scene, like throwing him down, a lot of really kinetic fighting energy. Really good stuff, I think. Mr. E?
For the Smallville fight? Okay.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Smallville fight. I enjoyed it. Lot of action, a lot of destruction, a lot of mayhem.
There was an American flag in the background.
I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Behind Superman. That was a good reference. It wasn't overly... It was subtle enough.
But yeah, I enjoyed it.
You know what would have made that perfect? If we saw Captain Logan in the film. Just in the background, just waving with like an I Love Jarrell shirt.
Well...
And a Mountain Dew.
He lives in Kansas, so why couldn't he be there?
Yeah, I mean, come on.
They filmed in Chicago.
That's my biggest complaint, Zack Snyder.
You didn't actually film in Kansas.
You didn't use Captain Logan. That's a hate crime. He's awesome. You have something against the Geek Pollution channel. No, I'm just kidding. Zack Snyder, please don't take that to heart.
Yeah.
If you're listening.
Yeah, because he's totally going to listen to this, isn't he?
Well, you know he's a big fan of Geek Pollution. I mean, how can you not be? Plug.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I have to say on the Smallville scene.
Yeah.
And the ending with Ma Kent's was great, saying, nice suit.
Oh, yeah. Do we go straight back to Shimon Ked's house after the fight and
Yeah, he's checking on the mother after the.
Yeah, I have a little problem with that because Lois Lane shows up with the FBI
With the cop.
and they don't put two and two together.
Actually, it was like. You sure it was the FBI? I thought it was just cops because they had like the flash or something.
Oh, whatever it was. Yeah, I think it was just cops, but okay.
I don't think she should be saying Clark that out loud.
Yeah,
I'll say that.
Yeah, that's one thing, Of course, then they put together that they're going to have to use the ship to get the codex and everything, and isn't that after that they set all that up?
Yeah, they set up the codex. Where was the codex hidden? Oh, right, no, I mean it's in him. It's in him when they find out. Oh, wait, they observed his blood. Okay, they got a sample of his blood, and that's how they find out he has the codex. After that scene, we go to Zod, don't we?
Zod.
Did we go to Zod or the military next? Oh, we already oh, crap. We passed my favorite scene.
What? What's your favorite scene?
He surrenders himself before he turns himself into Zod.
Oh, okay.
The military, that's my favorite scene.
You want to go, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, real briefly. That's my favorite scene. It's just, again, it's something Superman would do. It's just, he feels, Cavill in that moment, in that scene, because Cavill does a great job throughout the film, but in that scene, he feels like he is Superman. Not a doubt in my mind, in that scene, he is Superman, because that's something Superman would do. It's just, turning himself over, he's doing the responsible thing. He allows the handcuffs to be put on him. And then, of course, what makes every movie great, interrogation scene, The Dark Knight is proof of this.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about the interrogation scene. Oh, it's so stupid.
Wait, what? Interrogation?
I forgot about including the interrogation scene in this. It's so stupid.
Oh, I like the interrogation scene in this.
Yeah, no, I do. I forgot. No, I can't believe I'm so stupid for forgetting about it because I love it too.
Oh yeah, yeah. But just, of course, that was the scene in the third trailer. Just sold me instantly. I was like, oh my god, I have to see this. Lois Lane. Yes.
Oh my world. You mean hope?
Yes. That's so great. It's been set up with Jor-El telling him that. It means hope, and then he's telling Lois, and here it's a nest, and she's about to say Superman. And of course, then there's that Amelia Hamilton just kind of distracts him. Excuse me, excuse me, sir. I have a few questions for you. Rest assured, Dr. Hamilton, Professor Hamilton. He says, "How do you know my name? I can see it in your coat pocket along with the mints, like the mint lifesavers."
And then he just stands up and breaks the handcuffs.
Let's lay all our cards on the table, gentlemen. That's a Superman moment. These are Superman lines, and of course he's kind of calling out the. This might be the other guy if it's not Christopher Maloney you're talking about. Again, I think we were talking about Christopher Maloney. General. Yeah, the general here. This guy.
Somehow someone saw a picture of him in a CG suit.
Huh. Maybe he was Non.
CG suit for this movie.
Maybe he was Non's body. Maybe. Who knows? I don't know. Either way. So of course there's that scene. I can also.
Maybe he had a big. They cut it out.
Maybe.
Like, what if they had a scene where he was turning into an alien?
That's a little out there.
A green alien.
Ha ha ha. But
no, I'm just saying that's a possibility.
I don't know. It's a little out there for me. But yeah, the scene, of course, what really sells about that scene is that their whole Superman calling the government on their tactics, saying, "I can also see you loading those tranquilizers. You can tell them to stop. They'll be wasting their time." And of course, you can't expect them to take questions. Yeah. really, it's really, he just is Superman. That scene. It just really sells it for me. It's just really, that's why I love that scene. He's Superman. He's also playing fair, He's saying, "Well, you have to trust me on that. That's you have to trust me on that. Like I'm surrendering myself to you. I'm surrendering myself to him for you. That sort of thing. It's just really, really nice. And of course, his relationship does build. He's here for us. He's working. Well, I mean, he's here to help us. This guy's good. And of course, in the Smallville fight, we had more saving people, which delighted me. The soldiers are firing at Superman because they're still distrustful of this guy. Why? Because he just surrendered himself. I don't get it, but still, army protocol, I guess, via the Hulk. But they're attacking Superman, and then of course what he does, which just cements the awesomeness of, again, something I love about Superman, saving people. He saves the army guy who's shooting at him. And he says, "You okay?" Oh, I just love that so much. Okay, I think I've gushed enough for that, but that's my favorite scene. Anything to add?
No.
Okay, that's. Okay, I'm sorry. Where we were at? Are we at when he finds out at the Codex, or are we still at Ma Kent's house?
Yeah, well, I forgot to mention another one of my favorite parts is where he comes out of that store and the cape is flapping and
Sears.
And he comes across the Colonel, and of course he says he's not an enemy. He's not our enemy, and that's awesome.
It is
great.
Also,
I love that.
It'd be hilarious if that was Walmart because they plugged. I'm surprised there was no Walmart product placement, even though Walmart advertised the heck out of Man of Steel. It's funny because I have a friend who works at Walmart, and he keeps talking about, he saw Man of Steel with me. He kept saying that, Man of Steel is just everywhere. I don't know if they're gonna let me off work to see it. We had to see it the day it came out instead of the midnight, but yeah, it's. Yeah, it was just funny that it would have. I'm sure it would have delayed him if he saw Walmart getting destroyed instead of Sears.
Yeah, kind of lost after that. What happened?
I believe
they
find out where the Codex is after that. The Zod and the gang.
Yeah, and then they decide, okay, that's it. We're gonna go conquer this planet now. He sends down the ship.
Does Kal-El need to be alive for the extraction?
Yeah, he says stuff that we're gonna kill everybody.
I'm gonna rip it from your son's. Can you still feel pain? I'm gonna rip it from your son's corpse. The Codex. Oh, that's a great scene between him and Jor-El. It says, "I can't believe I'm having an external discussion with a hologram or a ghost."
Yeah. I love that.
That was great.
That's cool.
I like the respect. Also, something kind of glazed over when he was talking to Superman during that dream sequence. That was awesome. He says, he says, I killed your father, essentially, and I would do it again. And that's me, because in that scene earlier on in Krypton, a thing I loved about that scene was Zod and he, they were friends. The thing is, there was probably a deleted scene showing these two guys together, working together, just kind of disagreeing one last time before the event. And you don't need that because these two actors, Michael Shannon and Russell Crowe, they're doing such a good job. And just with the eyes and the expression and just the lines, this past history comes across in the performance that you get these two guys have been friends, and you feel genuinely pained when Zod kills Jor-El, because he didn't mean to. He's just so frustrated. And later on he says, I didn't want to kill him, but I'll do it again if it means preserving Krypton. He's that dedicated to his job, so you can't completely hate Zod. You see he has this warped sense of what he's doing is right. It's really interesting for his character.
True.
Yeah, so ripping from the corpse, now he wants revenge on Kal-El. Because he rejected his offer, now he's going to make him suffer and choose this planet to make the thing happen.
Yeah. I just want to say, the ships in this, they look kind of cool. They I like that they're, like... There seems to be this thing now where all spaceships sort of have to have this thing where they land and they're this huge they got this huge landing arms that come out and sort of thing. It seemed to be a thing. It was in the Star Trek 2009. It just looked like a whole bunch of knives coming out of this. kind of a similar design in this, which I do like, but everything seems to be massive now. So it's
that was a cool shot with Ma Kent's house when you saw the ship landing and Zod coming out of it.
Yeah, but I like that sort of Superman has a plan to stop them, and he's sort of like he's got to take out the Indian Ocean one.
Thanks to Lois.
But yeah, and the other one is they're just going to go after the main the ship in Metropolis.
Yeah.
But
the World Destroyer, aren't they? Send out the World Destroyer. Or the War Machine. No, not the War Machine.
World Machine.
World Machine. The World Breaker or something.
Yeah, the World Machine they call it. And yeah, that's kind of cool, and that. And then of course it gets up to my least favorite part of the whole movie. But so just if you guys want to talk about that, I reckon it's all that bit is really cool, and it's like Superman is not actually going to directly fight Zod. I thought that was kind of cool. He's going to defeat him without actually going into a fisticuff fight with him.
Yeah.
But he kind of already had one, so I was like, okay, well, we saw that, so that's kind of cool. But of course, but yeah, the next part is, and of course the next part is my least favorite part. But guys, go give your opinions on that whole section if you want to. I'm totally with this film up until this point.
Mr. Ree, would you like to begin?
What section are we talking about again?
We're talking about the World Breakers. The World Destroyer, the World Machine.
Yeah.
Well, it was
the whole battle with that thing and that before the
face
final fight, before the face off.
It was alright, but I heard someone talking about like they didn't have to actually have him fighting it or fighting him back. They could have had it where it's just that when he was around it, he started losing his powers and becoming normal and having that kind of strife with it, not actually
I thought it was kind of cool because I thought it was kind of cool. Like I thought it was really awesome.
Magpie.
Yeah.
It's Kevin Smith pointed out there are a few they're either very subtle and very clever, or they're just strangely ironic. References to the Kevin Smith Superman script in this movie. Seriously, there's John Pierce did produce this Magpie.
Yeah, I noticed that. I was like, oh, okay. And we did, and then I thought, oh, is that why the ships look like giant spiders?
Yes, this world machine, and Kevin just pointed this out in his review of it in Fat Man on Batman. Don't ask me why, but Batman, it was in the shape of a giant spider when he destroyed it in the end. Also, he's in the movie for a lot of the movie without the Superman suit at first. The whole beginning, the whole drifter angle. And we do see a shot of a polar bear in the Fortress of Solitude. We see a shot of a polar bear.
Polar bears are the most vicious killers in the animal kingdom.
Yeah, so are spiders. Yep. Okay, that's something I had to point out because it's just still funny. I wonder if they didn't intentionally do that. Can't have a giant squid in Watchmen. Not that I'm complaining. But you can have a giant spider in a Superman.
Yeah. Oh, Sid Part 2 pointed out to me why you could have a giant spider in Superman, but you couldn't have one in Wild Wild West.
Well, you did have one in Wild Wild West.
Yeah, it was a problem.
Yes. But with that scene, I'm in agreement with you, Mr. E, and also who you've heard this from as well. I'm in agreement that it's a little much with the tentacles. Tentacles bad.
I just figured Brainiac was there. It was sort of fighting him back. I just thought, this is a reference to Brainiac because for some reason we can't have Brainiac in this movie.
It might be if it's set up for Brainiac, yes, but I mean the technology itself. Don't get me wrong. I'm saying it's open to be Brainiac, and that'd be cool if it was Brainiac. I think we would have seen more of like the 3 circle thing on the head if it was Brainiac. Then again, it could just be the peg sticking out to look like it'd be a nod for the second film. Who knows? But just for these purposes, let's assume that's not Brainiac. Well, the point is not looking as Brainiac or not. I agree it's a little much in that. I think it'd be more powerful, and that kind of the equivalent to the Kryptonite Mountain that we don't need in Superman Returns. It's our hero. He's powering on through this thing. It's kind of taking away his powers. And Lois Lane has set this up, saying, "Well, you're going to that atmosphere thing, right? It's not going to be easy for you." And he says, "Yeah, but it's not. It's not going to be easy for me." He's flying up the thing and he destroys it. That's a good scene, but I think they're just kind of throwing in some last-minute action with the whole tentacle scene. Looks good, but I don't think it's necessary. It's just kind of, again, that's kind of the whole atmosphere thing as an idea is, it's interesting, but I'm still not completely sold on how it works. So you should be. I think you should be like losing more power. And also, did you guys, just to be clear, you guys saw a red sun on Krypton, didn't you?
I have no idea.
I don't think I did, to be honest.
I saw the sun. It looked a little red. I can't say it was completely red. I'm just curious if they completely got rid of the red sun and just using the atmosphere to be like the red sun, or it's there, because they say the yellow sun gives you power. And then they also mentioned the gravity, so that might be another thing with the whole truck thing that could be a possible explanation. I don't know. Still can't decipher it. But again, this whole the whole gravity thing, and the whole world machine, it's affecting the gravity of the planet to make it dense. It's either denser or affecting the gravity, so it's becoming more like Krypton's gravity. So that's why
we kind of lost
going up and down.
We lost Mr. A.
He'll be back.
Yeah. Yeah. So. Just let me try and get him back for you guys, for us.
See if I can.
But yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. I didn't mind the tentacles, but it says busy. But wait for him to call back. But yeah, I didn't mind it. It was cool to me, and I like the whole ray thing coming out. So. And it was sort of fighting up against it. That was really cool.
The ray thing's cool. It's just I'm curious if the red sun's going to come into play, because I think we could have both. I think we have both to be fine. Just kind of, I don't know. We have both to be fine. It's just something that time will tell. We'll see. I think it's a little risky if they did completely get rid of the red sun. Atmosphere's an interesting idea. We haven't seen how that plays out, and again, still figuring out how it works. It's not a problem. It just takes some time to sink in. I'm sticking firmly by. You know? So that, and, let's see, I'm trying to think if I have anything else. Should we address... Oh, yeah, again, I think it's kind of like since an earthquake's kind of going on, that's the reason people have evacuated the buildings for the final battle. Because they're safe nowhere, but I'm saying they're not going to be up in the towers and just up in the
No one is that stupid. No one is that stupid.
Yeah.
After the entire thing, after that entire world-making machine started going on and their crap started messing up, no one's going to be like, hey, what if we just stay in here? Everything will be fine if we just stay here in these very tall skyscrapers. That makes no sense.
However, why is it the people don't fly up and down with the gravity? Is it like tuned to organic and inorganic matter? Is that like how it goes?
Inorganic.
Yeah, you don't want to. I don't want to poke us to get that.
I'm just saying it's like inorganic matter. That's how it's like tuned to inorganic matter.
Yeah,
that's all I got. But
that's all I got too. Let's take this moment because it's during this moment where Lawrence Fishburne as Perry White has his great moment. I could care less that Lawrence Fishburne is playing Perry White, and him being black I have no problem with it. To me it was like, oh, okay, Lawrence Fishburne's playing Perry White, and he's not in this a whole heap to really. I'm just like, I don't know why it's an issue, to be honest. I'd be happy if Superman was black. I don't care. As long as the actor's good, I don't care.
The only reason I would care if Superman was black, and I want to turn this into a whole nother video, but I was going to say, I would care because just he's been consistently written as a white character. That's all I'm saying. Same thing with Perry White, but then again, he's more of a supporting character, and it's really equated by how good an actor you have playing him, which I think Fishburne is that actor. You know, he's that good an actor to play Perry White, and I think he has that authoritativeness about him. It really works for Perry White. He's always played that sort of character, and I think it really works for here.
I like that he has to rescue that girl Jenny or Janine or whatever.
Yeah, it's Jenny, and that's going into this film. That was the one thing I was dreading. I was panicking about this because this it's one thing to change a character's race, but to change their gender. Because
whoa, okay, wait, hang on. At no time do we hear them say Olsen.
Yes, I'm just saying. Here's the thing. I'm convinced, and I could be wrong about this, but I'm convinced that she was intended to be Jimmy Olsen. Well, Jenny Olsen. However, I think because it was such an unpopular choice, such a risky choice, or maybe because they had so much story to put into the film, they cut out all her scenes and basically just cut out her being Olsen. And hence, for me, that's not a problem at all. I have no problems with it, and they could bring in Jimmy Olsen for another movie. So really, that's my only gripe going into the film I was worried about. I'm sorry, what, Mr. E? Hello?
Hello?
Mr. E? Hey, buddy? Yeah.
Okay,
he'll be back.
Yeah, it's he'll be back. But yeah, I got no problem with it. If they it would have been an issue had they changed it, but I was like, they're not. At no time they say Olsen, so I'm like, okay, fair enough.
All I know is
I thought what you thought too, but I'm glad that they made the change. So.
I'm happy about it. Basically, that was my only really gripe. That was my real worrying. That would have been my biggest complaint with the film, just that they changed the character to change the gender of the character. His good supporting character, Jimmy Olsen. And also, they had basically Lois Lane. She fulfills Jimmy's role in the earlier parts of the film, like the Arctic. She's taking her own pictures. So, yeah. I mean, yeah. It's also, I kind of like, I like the film more because, not by much, but I like the film more that she's not Jimmy Olsen. Just, it's Perry White. He's saving his secretary, saving someone who works at the planet, being heroic himself. It was a nice touch while this stuff is going on. It's still the average people being heroic. I guess it's people being influenced by Superman. It's seeing the effect Superman has on the people. It's kind of the reverse of what Jonathan Kent was afraid of. He's inspiring people like his actual father wanted, Jor-El.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that, you want to cover, see if we wait for Mr. E. You want to cover some side character topics?
No.
Well, one last thing though to mention.
If you want to mention someone.
One last thing. The ending of the World Breaker scene. The whole the rivalry the Colonel has against Feora. I like how that's kind of paid off. I think it was a little overemphasized, but I like how it ties neatly together. She pulls out a knife, he pulls out a knife, she pulls out a longer knife. She's about to kill him. An honorable death is its own reward. And then later on that calls back, and he kind of gets the last word on it.
Yeah. And of course they drop the ship in, and that's supposed to suck everyone in, including because he can't be that far away.
No, Zod isn't in the ship. He's in the Kryptonian. He's in the there.
Yeah, but he gets thrown out of that, doesn't he? And
he does. Is it in the same ship? I thought it was two spaceships.
Yeah, it comes in and it doesn't everything you don't see the Kryptonian ship crashed anywhere.
No. They use all the Kryptonians that are on the Phantom Zone ship. That one, when it's set, the whole plan is.
Yeah, I know, mate. But what I'm saying isn't he close enough by to be sucked into, and why isn't he sucked into?
Well, because Superman he destroys the little cockpit area, and basically he falls somewhere under the rubble of the building.
Still, he should be sucked in.
What, you sure? I thought it was like it's like in the vicinity, and you're just getting sucked in like it's.
Yeah, look, man. Honestly, to me, he would be close enough by because he's right behind the other ship, right?
Yeah, I hear.
The airplane, and so close enough. You see the power of this thing. Okay, why doesn't it? It's obviously something locks onto all the Kryptonians to suck them in.
Well, by that logic, then a lot of Metropolis citizens might be sucked in there too.
No, what I'm saying is that this thing obviously knows that it's only sucking Kryptonians. So why?
Well, it almost sucked in Lois Lane.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
I don't know. I'm just saying it looked like from where obviously I'm not disputing. I'm just saying that from the way I looked at it, I looked at like Superman separated the cockpit area and basically Zod fell out, and I was surprised by it. I was with you. I thought he was sucked in. At first, I thought he was sucked in there. At first, I saw he was just okay. I was sucked in there. Okay, it's the end. But then Zod comes out of the rubble. Oh my God! I just realized this because that's the thing I had going into the film. I didn't know my biggest worry was. I saw the little clip of Jor-El and Zod talking when he's just talking to the program of Jor-El. And he's saying, my son will stop you. And I was wondering if that was a hologram. That was either going to be a hologram or it was going to be like in the past. I was curious because I saw the Kryptonian soldiers, so I was wondering if the Kryptonian soldiers are just going to be entirely on the past. It's just going to be Zod and Ursa and Non on the Earth. Being there, I didn't know like all the cohorts are going to be like 9 people in general. I'm assuming I didn't count them. It was like around 9. But it was like around 9. But either way, so I was curious. Superman can't kill him. I was going to that film thinking that okay, Superman's not going to kill him. We know that. So they're either going to get sucked back into the Phantom Zone or they're going to kill themselves somehow. They're going to blow up by their own hand. Now, of course, that's going to relate to what we're about to discuss. But so keep that in mind. That's what I had going into the film. And I saw Zod alive at the end of it. I was thinking, oh my God, what's going to happen? Superman can't kill Zod. How is Zod? What's going to happen? Is he going to be put into like a prison? That's where Luthor's going to come in, like have a piece of the study of this guy, and that's where we get our team up of Lex Luthor and Zod from Superman 2 in this film. So that's what and maybe Brainiac comes into play. I don't know. Who knows? But, okay, going on to the fight, first led by Zod's awesome speech, we should address. The whole, my purpose. Again, it's more sympathetic Zod there, because his purpose.
What?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to talk about this. He gives that speech, and, that's nice. I'd love that to happen earlier, because to me, this whole fight, the only reason it's in there is to satisfy some sort of need that people have, that you have to have the good guy have that one big battle with the bad guy, and I thought we'd gotten that earlier, and I like this fight. Honestly, it bored me. I was like, why do we have to have this fight? It's stupid, and it got repetitive. I mean, it was clear by watching this that they had run out of ideas, and not to say that the fight isn't awesome, it's just by this point I was like, can't we be done with this? And they kept running into buildings, and I got sick and tired of seeing that. Then I was like, okay, you run him into one building, that didn't kill him. You run him into another building, that didn't kill him. Why do we need 3 or 4 of these running in a building? I got sick of it. It was boring. I'd like, just end it already. It's like, look, and of course, then we get to the big issue at the end of the fight. Okay, but it's just ridiculous. Like, and honestly, I thought he's been sucked in. What the hell's going on?
Well, let me say this. Okay, let me say this about the ending fight. Mr. E, are you there?
Yes, I've finally been able to fix everything.
Okay, we're on the ending now.
Okay.
You can go before me. Just don't mention the big thing at the end yet. Just talk about the lead up to the fight. I mean, just the beginning of the fight.
Okay, lead up. All right.
Okay. Just talk about when after we find out Zod's alive.
Yeah, by the way, I didn't like this fight, but I just mentioned
He
that.
thinks
Okay?
it went on too long, had too many buildings, bored him a little.
I think Zod should have been sucked into because to me that would have been the perfect way to end the movie. Then you have Lois and Superman kiss, and then bang, you got the end of your
Which
movie
is always
there.
a nice ending. The hero kisses the girl, but then the girl has a pun.
Yeah.
But then it's always awkward for all the people that are watching. Because, like, it's a little awkward.
I'm a romantic. You know, I like it when Batman kisses Catwoman and rises.
And then Commissioner Gordon's like, this is awkward.
Hey, I love that scene when he says goodbye to Gordon. He doesn't give him an awkward look.
Yeah. But anyway, what did you think of the final fight up until the point that we're going to get to, and I'm going to rip this movie a new one after that?
Man. Go ahead, Mystery.
Okay. I enjoyed the fight. I loved it so much. I believe this is what the movie, it seemed like this entire movie was leading up to this fight. And I enjoyed the fight so much. And for the people who haven't seen the movie and are still listening to this, what are you doing? But nonetheless, if you're watching this review and you haven't seen the movie, pay close attention. You will literally have to look, keep an eye out for almost every single Easter egg there is. There are 3 Easter eggs in this entire fight scene. There's the Bruce Wayne Easter egg. There's the Booster Gold Easter egg, and then
there
there's
was a
the
Booster Gold Easter egg.
Yes,
Yeah.
I had to have someone zoom in on it. But then it's like you have to look at the Lex Luthor Easter egg. I mean, this fight scene has so much in it that it feels like it was appropriate. In my opinion.
I thought, look, honestly, I just because you weren't here, I said it was a bit over the top, and I was to me, it got a bit repetitive at times. Them running into the glass on the sides of buildings, because I was like, oh, they're just destroying more of the city. God,
if you could have one building destruction, just one. There's one shot that's really awesome of a building getting destroyed. Just one that's really, if you could only have one, it's the shot where it's believed to be the Daily Planet. I don't think so. I could be wrong, but it's one like there's a shot like the building's literally raining down on Superman, like raining down. It's like he's just like in front of the building. It looks like it just crumbles behind him like a fall of rubble. If you can remember that or it rings any bell, I know there's a lot of it, but I'm just saying that's the one shot. It was awesome.
The Daily Planet appears in the end, though it's not the Daily Planet.
I know, but then again, you don't know how long it's been since that fight, and you don't know, again, could be Lex has rebuilt the city. You don't know how long it's been.
3 days?
I'm saying you sure it's 3 days?
I'm saying 3 days. Actually, I'm saying it's immediately after, so...
I don't know. I think it could have been longer. Like, we don't know how many months. It could have been months for all we know.
Yeah, it could have been. It could have been 8 years.
Would you stop? That's my gag. It's my running gag.
That was funny. That was funny.
Okay, it was funny, but I mean like 6 months or so. I don't know. It's like It's like Luthor's equivalent to No Man's. Okay, I'll get to that later. Keep going, Mystery.
But then it's like, there's a scene in it where Zod has this armor. He has the armor on. He just starts ripping it off. And then you just see the Under Armour. And he's just floating there with the Under Armour. He's practically like an evil version of Superman. And when he's just floating there in the position where his arms are sticking out and everything, I was like, that is a comic book shot.
That was cool. I love the armor. Yeah. I mean, I love the undersuit.
Yeah, but yeah, honestly, I hate to keep harping on this. I just did not see the point of this fight because, to me, it's sort of like, okay, I'm going to bring something up here. Okay, he's been beaten, and this is the final nail in this fight. I'm talking about the fight itself. He's already been beaten. he's just ticked off that he's been beaten, and he's like, you beat me, I can't win now. That's sort of what it's like. It's like he's also big. After this, I'm just like, you're whining. Just shut it. It's and the only and honestly that there was nothing in this fight that I didn't get elsewhere in the movie. You know, it's like it's sort of like it seemed tacked on to me. This whole fight seemed like, oh, we have to have this because is what I felt. But I didn't need it. I didn't need honestly. I did not need this fight at all. And to me, if I could cut one scene out of this whole movie, it would be just that one. This one scene.
Mr. Reed, do you have anything else to add before I go? I haven't gone at all for this topic yet. Anything?
It's your turn.
Okay, here we go.
It's your turn.
Okay, I'm gonna try to get through this as quickly as I can. But just the beginning of the fight, I respect your opinion, Magpie. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, okay. My problem isn't with the speech, because I honestly feel like I could put that somewhere else, and it would still be as effective. Like, I could put that somewhere else in the movie.
The thing about the speech, though, I think it works because what the speech does a lot of things. The speech, first of all, it's Zod's motivation, and it's kind of the whole, it's Jarrell's whole thing about, we should decide our own fates for the civilization, and we see Zod set in that old way of life, saying, my purpose is to protect Krypton. His purpose, her purpose is to protect Krypton. Basically, Superman, he actually has a line before he destroys the little chamber with all the baby chamber. Krypton had its chance. He has that line, and then you feel bad for Zod, and he's basically breaking down because Michael Shannon, to his credit, he does these really good psychologically twisted characters. And this is like that his breaking moment.
Yeah.
And I can see like the passion behind it. He's just like the gravel. Like, this is all that's left of Krypton. You destroyed it. You ruined my life. And I don't see it as much as I don't see him really just weeping or just kind of being a crybaby. But I see him literally he's breaking down completely. It's like literally his last hope of restoring civilization. Like Superman, he wants to know about his past. More Zod is preserving his past. Superman is learning about his past. Superman's learned about his past. Zod, he's been the preserver. A general. I'm a general. That was my purpose. That was his assigned goal in that chamber. That's why he's connected to preserving Krypton. It was his destined purpose. That's why he and Jor-El are eternally set against each other, in a way that makes any sense. He ends up killing his friend, kind of Charles Xavier paralysis sort of way. With Magneto, I don't know, something along those lines. But I think that's a really, really good scene. Of course, the reason I accept the fight, I think it's necessary. Well, I think it's a great surprise that you don't expect coming. Because at first you don't, oh my God, Zod's alive. But then dude's like, oh my God, it's funny. We got that awesome Superman scene. And yeah, I guess Zod was more the master manipulator here. Kind of the guy, he's still a general, he's still tough, he's giving the orders, he's doing a lot of horrific, he's really military about the way he's going about things. But then, this guy's lost all his facilities, he's attacking Superman with everything he's got. It's a fight motivated by passion is what I'm seeing, and it's kind of, yes, there is an element that's just kind of fan service in that, oh my God, Superman's fighting someone, it's so awesome, and it's really an all-out fight, because he didn't fight Zod earlier, but it was more just kind of Superman wailing on Zod. Then he defeats Zod very cleverly. But still, it's really... I don't know, still, I think it's necessary. I will admit this. It does go on a little too long, and the collateral damage. I have an excuse that...
collateral damage. No one is in those buildings.
Let me get to that. Yes, no one is in the buildings. You're absolutely right about that, Mr. Reed. What I am saying is that everyone's evacuated... Everyone smart enough is evacuated out of the buildings. But still, some buildings are falling, and we don't see anyone get hurt. That's on purpose, and that's kind of, again, what's been done in animation a few times. Like, they make sure all the lights are out of the building, all the cars are unoccupied, so when things get destroyed, no one gets hurt. Say that to the little kiddies out there. True, and Snyder doesn't show any casualties because we're focusing on the action. We don't want to think that they're hurting anyone, even though they're probably getting hurt a little. I'm not saying dead. I'm optimistic about this. However, looking at it, what we really needed, I'm going to get to this now, I guess, but what we really needed, and I think would have saved it for everyone, made this not an issue at all, is if we kind of had the classic, kind of a classic Superman that, like Superman 2, where he's fighting Zod and the Kryptonians, and he's saving people while he's fighting. That's Superman. That's classic Superman. You know, he's fighting these guys, but still.
Yeah, that would have been cool. That would have helped it out a bit for me, I think. But
it's like that
you're
moment
right.
in Superman 2 where, like, you know, Zod himself, he says, "I know his weakness. He cares about these people. It's just like pets," says Ursa. You know, it's just, if we had more of that, but I'm saying, I'll get to during my final thoughts how they could turn that into a strength, but just kind of getting to the fight, getting to the point where we all want to go. But, yeah, the action was good. Could have been trimmed up. I'll give you that. And I just said the thing about the collateral damage. The fight was cool, but the whole we had the Wayne Enterprises satellite, and there's this great shot where Superman's like he's falling upside down, launches into space, which is really cool. Zack Snyder slow-mo shot. His only slow-mo shot in the movie, I believe, but looks great. There's that, Zod's Under Armour, which is great, and also, it's funny, Dark Knight Rises was sponsored by Under Armour. But, you know, the undersuit looks great with the cape and just the Zod symbol, which I have a shirt of that, looks cool. Zod is, the fighting in what cracks me is they're fighting in Lex's office, which I'm convinced that's Lex's office. He had the LexCorp trucks on the outside, and of course the gag that says, "This many days without accidents." That's more of the Man of Steel storyboard guys I told you about, worked on Returns. Good action, like kicking the floorboard metal girder up and hitting Zod. Zod's like twisting himself out of the arm. I'm just listing off really cool things at the moment. Okay, I just mentioned space. Yeah. They land. Okay, now we're in the art museum, which it's far enough away from the city, and they're seeking shelter, so that's why people are in it. Go ahead, Nat. Who would like to?
Oh, I thought it was a railway.
I'm pretty sure. You sure it's a railway?
Yeah.
Is it a railway or an art museum?
Railway.
Okay, railway. I'm sorry. It looked kind of like an art museum.
Yeah,
I've seen a few art museums. It looked kind of like that. I could be. It's railway station. You're right. I'm sorry.
Okay. Go ahead. So Superman's got Zod in the sleeper hold, and Zod's firing off his heat vision at a bunch of people that are trapped in the corner. It's going on. He's like, "No!
Don't make me do this."
Yeah, don't make me do this. He snaps his
neck. Don't make me do this. Never.
Okay.
All right. Like 4 people trapped.
Most people I wouldn't have a problem with this, but honestly, I feel that there might have been a way they could have gotten written away a better ending to the fight than
spoiler
this. Like, it kills Zod, but honestly, this is my big problem with the film. He kills Zod, and it's mostly because it's Superman doing killing.
So Superman's not allowed to kill. My goodness.
No, Batman's not allowed to kill either. Green Arrow shouldn't be killing either, but I built a bridge and got over that.
Just so happens to remember Superman 2 of the Richard Donner series that
he didn't kill him.
Exactly. Superman killed Zod.
He didn't. I'm sorry, he didn't.
He did. He grabbed him, he lifted him up, and then he threw him, and then he fell down.
Now listen, Mr.
Great big hole.
Follow me on this, Mr. Listen,
Never
it literally, in the Donner cut of that film, I don't mean to get into a rant or yell at you, Mr. I'm not trying to do that. I'm just saying that in the Donner cut, I know that a lot of people bring this up. In the Donner cut, you see Zod being hauled away to jail along with Lex at the end outside the fortress. In the Donner cut. So, I mean, in the Donner cut, he is...
No, in the Donner cut, he just
Well, I mean, he
turns
does
back
turn
time.
back time, but you still see them. They were caught in deep power, and the scene was also aired on TV to regular Superman too. There's like a net in the fortress. Don't ask me what sense it makes. I'm just saying that in the Donner cut, you see the three baddies being hauled away after that, and supposedly they've fallen into like some sort of trap or catcher below the ice, the crevice, the cat, whatever.
Yeah, you don't, and in that you don't actually see them die.
Exactly.
Either.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just saying that's my...
In this you see them die. And who knows, maybe Superman's got a thing in that movie that they fall into a thing that's setting them off back to the Phantom Zone.
You can have a cellophane nut.
Yeah, and by the way, Mr. E, I do have a problem with that too. But that's a little less so because you don't actually... someone falling down a pit and you don't actually see them hit the ground.
I'm just saying.
Is a little bit...
Superman has been noted to kill people. He has been noted to kill people.
I'm sorry, I disagree with that. I've never... Give me some more examples here. I mean, other than the parademons. Parademons don't count and Doomsday does not count.
Doomsday doesn't count.
Doomsday and parademons do not count because Doomsday is basically not alive, and the parademons they're apocalyptic and they're mindless drones and they don't count. He fries them in Superman the animated series, and other than that, he has never killed anyone. And don't tell me alternate universe Superman. That doesn't count either.
I'm not thinking about alternate universe Superman.
I'm saying he's killed a lot in the alternate universe.
He has killed people. I'm just...
I have a problem with it. Honestly, to me, I have a problem with Superman killing people.
This could... See, look, I even saw that. Like, yeah, he killed Zod, but this could have been the beginning where it's like, I can't try to kill people anymore. I have to try to find a way to do something else. I have to try to find a non-violent way. This is when I begin the no-kill rule.
Taking the Daredevil approach.
Okay.
Is what you're saying.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. Alright, I'll tell you the way I have out of this. The other way out of this I do is that Zod tries to use the heat vision. This is me rewriting the film. Okay. Zod tries to use... Zod, he can't... whenever he's got the facial mask and all that off, he just can't handle the sounds of all the people, and he hears all the suffering, and he ends up killing himself.
Well, Magpie, it's not a bad idea.
That's my way. That's my way around.
Here's the problem with it, though. I mean, I don't mean to jump on your idea here, but the problem with it is we see him adapt to the surroundings already. We saw that scene like before he's talking to Jor-El. He's kind of like he takes off the mask and he's kind of focusing. And true, he does it kind of fast, but then again, it was like kind of a puberty thing with Clark when he was a kid. It's kind of he's discovering the powers. Mm-hmm. And he sees through his hand, but then he kind of sees the hand itself, and he's kind of focusing the sensory overload, so he doesn't get sensory overload. So I'm saying it's kind of established earlier, but then again, if you wrote that out, I guess maybe.
Yeah,
killing himself isn't a bad idea.
That's one way. Or my other way would have been that the atmosphere gets too much for him, and he just can't control the power, and sort of somehow he zaps his own brain with his heat vision.
Or for like Superman, like grabbed a mirror.
On accident, Superman goes, I guess it was just too much for him, and you still get the similar effect. Like he doesn't want him dead, sort of thing. And I like that at least he says no.
That for me seems.
But still.
See, look, it's when he kills Zod and he gives that outrage of I didn't want to do it. That was, in my mind, that could have been the beginning of him practically thinking, I have to try to somehow find different ways.
Well, that's
And
definitely going to happen, Mr. E.
Yeah.
That.
Now, look, this is my only big issue with this film, and like I said at the very beginning of this, overall, I really enjoyed this film, and this is it's not a nitpick. It's I hate to say it, like a lot of the other stuff I've thrown out there is nitpicky stuff. This is a big problem for me in the film. It's Superman. No, just about any other action star, I wouldn't have this a problem with. It would also be a problem if it were Batman too, because they always make a big deal about this. Is that you have to have a line, and to me, the line is the heroes never should. You never should kill anyone.
Kill a bad guy, you become a bad guy. Simple as that.
Yeah, it's as simple as that. And to me, especially, does anyone remember the Justice League animated show where they go for the Justice
A Better World
Lord's angle?
Season 3.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, A Better World. That is to me the definitive reason why Superman can never kill. Because eventually he'll justify it to himself.
Well, in my mind, it's like this. I think of it like this. Yes, Superman may able to get away with it once, but just once. Just only once I want to see him able to get away with it. Just because it's that one time. And he'll probably, and this was the one time, he'll probably never do it again. He'll probably bring up that rule. I'm never going to do it.
He can kill Brainiac because he's a robot, and that's kind of the funny rule in animation. You can do as many horrific things as you want to a robot because it doesn't count.
And,
yeah.
But to me,
okay. Yeah.
When it comes to a character, specifically this character, Batman, he can never kill, because that is rule numero uno. For Batman. He cannot kill. And
Darn
look, there have been people who have said, well, Superman killing in this movie, well, did you see The Dark Knight? There was no way that was an accident, what he did to Harvey Dent. Even then, I'm like, okay, I'll agree with you. He probably did kill Harvey Dent. But look at the reasoning on why he did it. It was either save the boy and kill Harvey Dent, or have the boy die. To me,
he was trying to hold on to him and slipped out.
I'm with Magpie on that. If not, then Batman, he's injured, he's been shot, he's thinking on instinct, he's saving the boy, and I guess he would try to save Harvey, but he couldn't. I'm with Matt on it. Should I get to how I feel about the death?
Yeah. You talk about it. Hopefully you're somewhere in between.
Yeah, you know how I am, and you know how he is, so...
I'm kind of... I recognize everything you're saying, Magpie. I really do. I see what you're saying, and that's the other... I know I keep saying this, particularly the Jonathan Kent stuff, but that's the other really splitting thing on this film. You hate it, or you love it, or you hate it. So, I mean, this thing really turns people off completely to the film or not. So, I mean, you're in the middle, from what I gathered. Am I right?
Well, my opinion on it is it doesn't ruin the movie as a whole. It just and as I said, that whole fight at the end is kind of
it's just the third act. It's like Batman '89. Third act kind of turns you off a little. Yeah,
but after that, when everything after that left me leaving the theater in a much better mood.
Okay, let me say this. Okay, about the death, a few things. One that's kind of jokingly, there's an easy solution for how he doesn't kill Zod, for how he could a way around killing Zod. Freeze breath.
What?
He didn't have it. If he had freeze breath,
he didn't have it in there.
But then again, Zod's still. I don't even know if that counts. He's still blasting with the heat vision. I don't know if the freeze would cut off the heat vision or just blast through the ice. Who knows? But that's just a joking suggestion. But I still wanted the freeze breath. I want that in a future film. And if he tells me it's silly, I'm gonna say, come on.
Yeah, what? He can only have. Okay, that's the day he can fly. He can
fly. He can have vision,
but he can't have that. Okay,
he can fly. He can have vision. He can have supersonic speed. He can be invincible, and he can have super strength. No freeze breath.
And don't give me the whole...
And
you
you
know
can
what they
have
did in Justice... You know what they did in Justice League, the animated series? They didn't give him freeze breath. You know what they did instead? They just gave him super breath. Don't be wrong, super breath's cool, but I want literally cool. I want freeze breath. Is that so much to ask?
No.
That's all I'm saying
That's
if you can
not-
give him heat vision, don't just give him super breath. Give him freeze. Freeze is cool. But exactly. Okay, but in all seriousness, getting to the topic at hand. Now, the whole death thing. I'm going to say this. I've looked at it from a few ways. From what I can tell, I'm justifying this left and right. I can't see a way he could have how he could have, other than the people just realizing they could just run away. Other than that, the only reason I can see that Superman had no choice is that Superman's using all his strength to hold Zod, because it's two Kryptonians fighting each other. This is an occurrence that we really don't have that often in the comics. He doesn't fight Zod that much. Fights him occasionally, but not that much, because they try not to overuse the Superman 2 angle. But the whole thing, just him fighting another Kryptonian, there are few things that can hurt a Kryptonian. Very few things, other than basically Doomsday and Darkseid, and not Kryptonite. I'm just saying, like, because it's hard to hurt Superman unless you use magic, Kryptonite, or Red Sun. And you can hurt Superman if you're like Doomsday, or like you're basically either a god or an unstoppable monster that can really inflict a lot of damage to Superman. Or the other alternative, Kryptonian, because it's basically the rock versus another equally strong rock. You know, they're basically the same thing fighting each other, so they can damage each other. So what I'm saying is basically, it's something you don't really consider that much. At least I didn't consider it when I was watching the film. Then the thought never crossed my mind. And when Zod, he's in that hold, and he can't just put his hand over Zod's hand, because debatably maybe that would hurt Superman, literally hurt his hand. I don't know how the invulnerability would work against Kryptonian versus Kryptonian. So, I mean, I can't say if it would blast his hand off. I can't say if it wouldn't. It might, either way, I'm saying Zod would not give up. It might be the kinetic force would build up and just blow the hand, not off, but away. Like, it would just blast it out of the way, so it would just, I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm drifting off. I'm getting to the point. My point is, like, you know, he has him in the lock, and if he just turned Zod's head the other way, like, away from the family, but not too much like he did. If he did that, then Zod would just like move his pupils towards the family. So I'm saying it's like he can't fly him out of there because Zod would just use his power to go down. Just fly down there. It's like equal force versus equal force. It's hard to break the hold. I know it sounds like I'm this film's lawyer, but that's the way I'm looking at it. I don't see a way Superman could have broken the hold. Again, your whole suicide idea could have been interesting, but again, I think just the pieces that we had already kind of prevent that from happening. But what we have here, I still think is very interesting, because it's Superman in a position, I have never seen Superman in this position before. Again, Mystery, I don't know what you've seen. I mean, I probably just didn't see it. Again, I'm not counting Parademons or Doomsday, and I know you might have some examples, just I don't know what they are at the moment, so forgive me if I sound like I'm degrading you with this, I'm not. It's just Superman in a position where he has no choice. It's like either these, and it's bringing that theme in we had earlier with Jonathan Kent saying, maybe I should have let them die. You know, you want me to let them die, protect the secret, or avoid things to come? Problem with like the government getting involved or mistrust? Because I think that's what this is building towards. It's Superman. He's in a position he has to kill the bad guy, or innocent people will die. And of course, people against the film will instantly bring up all the casualties, casualties. I would agree, Mr. E, there aren't any. Despite it could have tried to look like it was less. But anyway,
you know what would have helped that is, okay, you get to the end of the film and Perry White goes, it's a miracle not many more people are hurt. Luckily, the evacuation happened when it did. There you go.
That, yeah. But, you know, it's just that, and then there's that moment, like, the music's building, and you're like, oh my god. I was like, I was so invested in this film, it was like, I was reacting to everything. And in this moment, I was like, no, he's not going, he can't. It was like, crack, that big score, it's just, everything goes silent after that. So, like, Superman's like, oh, please don't make me do this. Just give up, surrender, never! like shooting, basically snap. And a big thing we've never seen Superman do. Cracks the neck of another human being, well, not another Kryptonian. Cracks it in a feat of strength, nonetheless. He isn't just killed. He doesn't heat vision him like Luthor. He just, in alternate universes, he just breaks his neck in a violent way. He had to do it, or else the family would have died. And then that reaction, I was like, oh my god, he did it. No. Oh, no, no. Then Superman says my thoughts right there. It says, no! But in a good way, just like screams in outrage, I think, instead of no. I don't know. Does he say no, or is he just screaming in outrage? Either way. He's screaming in outrage, and then there's this great, powerful shot, I find, of Lois Lane. She sees this horrible act, and that's bonding these two for future films to come. She's there, kind of, it's like, she's just there as like the angel of mercy to Superman. He's like, he's kind of like a child. He's like crying into her lap. It's like, oh my god, what have I done? No, I didn't want this to happen. I killed the last of my own race. I did exactly what Zod said I did. I destroyed Krypton's last chance. I destroyed everything. I killed my own kind. I am now, kind of like he was in the beginning of the film, I am now the last son of Krypton, literally. It's my own fault. I've killed the last chance. I could have, deep down, like Superman probably feels he could have rehabilitated him. I would think. I'm just saying it's not said or any clues to that. I'm just thinking, like, maybe I only could have talked him out of it. If only he would have stopped. That, if there was any way I could do, and, that, now, if that's all I have to say about the death, but I have ideas and repercussions for 2 with that. So if you guys want to anything else you want to say about the death, or should I just go on with that?
If you want to go on with that, it's fine. I haven't got anything else to say about it.
I've laid out my defense for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've let out my contempt for it.
And I'm in the middle, or am I? Am I in the middle, or am I on the east side?
You're somewhere. You're somewhere in the middle. You don't hate it. Yeah, you're like, either way, you're like more in Mr. E's corner, but I
recognize what you're saying, Magpie, but I'm kind of in favor of Mr. E, but I'm definitely seeing what you're saying. I'm just looking at it from a different angle, I guess.
Yeah, you're the government.
Well, I mean, I'm not just dancing around the issue, though. I'm invested in this, man.
Funny.
Well, speaking of government, okay, here's the thing. There's a lot of potential for this, what happens. Now, I'm thinking that this will also be a key part. As I said, it's kind of bringing back Jonathan Kent's theme, like, stay hidden. Kind of, it's the stay hidden or, let people die mentality of it. And it's kind of, I think because of this action, it's definitely going to have repercussions for a sequel. And I think with that repercussion is going to basically fuel Lex Luthor, make him such a menace of a foe. Because I think all the faults of this film will be justified in that they will be brought up in 2 and basically made relevant and made, a pivotal part of that story in that Superman, because of this, all this collateral damage, that's going to strengthen Luthor. I think Luthor is going to pull a no man's land sort of thing, like with Batman. What?
He's running for president.
Is that official, or are you just thinking that?
No, I'm just spitballing.
Yeah, but I think...
no, I don't want to see President Lex in a movie.
At least not yet.
To me, you have to do that in a series.
But, the thing with Luthor, I'm saying that Luthor would be put in a position of power because of Superman, this whole he versus his own race versus the Kryptonian, the menace he brought to the Earth. Because of that, Luthor is basically going to use this to advantage. 1, he's going to blame it all on Superman. 2, he's going to see this as opportunity to rebuild Metropolis in his image, basically be the main strength of Metropolis, be the Bruce Wayne of Metropolis. Be the guy who's rebuilding the city, rebuilding all this collateral damage brought on by Superman, his battle. Kind of use that against him, saying you killed your own kind. What's to stop you from killing everyone else? Basically, like an anti-Superman campaign. Like, weigh the government on angles, Just kind of say, point out to the government, make them more distrustful of Superman. Undo the ending here is what I'm saying, is what's going to happen in 2. And Superman's probably going to torture himself
Okay.
about what happened to Zod. Superman is probably going to torture himself as just maybe in his head saying, there are so many ways I could have saved him. I could have saved those people. I could have been better. And then two, how I think you could just address or fix everything with the whole collateral damage thing. That's everyone's main complaint with this film.
Okay.
But the thing.
I'll save a lot of my speculations for a future video where we
That's the last speculation I have about it, just real quick. Yeah, it's the...
yeah, sure.
Basically, kind of what I said earlier, it's just basically in 2, we just have a better Superman. Superman is now improving, and he's kind of recognizing it, Luthor throwing it in his face. So what Superman would do is he would save people during the fights, like steer the menace away from the people, that sort of stuff. So he gets more of that. Now it'd be him correcting himself in the first one, improving as being a more super of a Superman. And Luthor kind of just try that would be how he foils Luthor. Is an idea, but let's get to the ending now. The ending being
Clark Kent.
Well, the ending being it's not Clark Kent yet, but remember we have the government with a plane.
Yeah.
The girl. What do you think of the girl saying? "Oh, I'm sorry, he's just so hot. He's kind of hot."
That in my mind that was unnecessary.
That's all right.
I thought that was fun. It's kind of funny, and all the women are thinking after he's going there with the shirt off after the oil rig.
I want to bring something up really, really quick. Okay. Henry.
How did we not talk about this earlier? Henry Cavill is Superman.
Yeah. Henry Cavill is Superman. He was in a movie called The Count of Monte Cristo. It's one of my favorite movies.
I think it was his debut movie.
Yeah, and the guy that you know the story of The Count of Monte Cristo, don't you? The guy that played the Count of Monte Cristo in that ended up going on and playing Jesus Christ in Caviezel. Yeah, that
yeah.
Right.
Caviezel. You're right.
And there's been this. So technically, and in that movie, Henry Cavill played the Count of Monte Cristo's illegitimate son, right? So technically, Superman is the son of Jesus Christ. So it's the son of God.
The last son. Ho 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 ho.
Yeah, well, there's always been this thing with Superman being an adaptation.
I don't like people connecting Superman to religion.
Neither do I. I just thought I'd point it out.
I mean, fair enough. It's your interpretation.
Okay,
I just think it's a little forced now. I mean, he's more of a... If I am to compare it to that, I'm saying he was created by Jewish guys, but I'm not saying that's the pure reason. I'm saying that it's more of a Moses figure, and they might have had that in mind when they're making it. I don't know.
Well, in this, he's 33, and that was the same age as what Jesus did when he died, supposedly. So there's kind of a connection there. I just wanted to point... I'm pointing it out merely as a story-wise.
I just see Superman as more of like a super guy. I know it's kind of silly saying that, but I mean, just kind of Superman for what he is than what he represents, if that makes any sense. Let's talk about Cavill as an actor.
Cavill, as an actor, he did a great job.
He did a solid performance. I enjoyed his performance. Middle
I know, yeah.
Well, Cavill does.
And of the modern era.
Yeah, and as someone who hasn't seen him in a lot, apart from Count of Monte Cristo, I haven't got any problems. Like, he's relatively unknown to maybe the mainstream public a lot. I don't know who else.
In The Immortals and The Tudors.
Yes.
Okay, so he's not a huge name. That I think that always works in someone's favor when they're playing a big name.
That works, and that's like the classic Donner school of thought. That worked with this film, You cast an unknown as the main guy. You get big names for the supporting guys and the father, and the supporting guys and the villain.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
should we cover the last flashback before we... Well, actually, let me address Cavill real quick. Henry Cavill, he did what Chris... A lot of people have been asking, and I've just been thinking this also. Who's the better Superman, Christopher Reeve or Henry Cavill? Now, I've been stewing on this.
Okay, I can tell you one thing that could make that argument moot and not matter. It's two different generations and two different ages of Superman. So, for that time, they played the Superman of that time. So,
that's what I'm saying.
That argument cannot be, that can't be a good argument.
I'm not making the argument. I'm saying that's the question. But what I'm saying is that they both succeed in that they embody Superman. I'm watching them on the screen. I not doubt in my mind. I'm thinking that's Superman. That's exactly Superman on the screen. That's what I'm thinking Superman is. I'm going to say this though, just because of I'm not saying he's better. I'm just saying for me personally, I think my Superman might be Christopher Reeve because I grew up with a lot of nostalgic connection. And just he's more of the comic Superman with the whole Clark Kent angle, which we're going to get to momentarily. That's the only reason. I'm not saying that they're inferior. I love them both to death, and it's great. We live in an era where we've had nothing but good Superman actors. George Reeves, great Superman. Christopher Reeves, great Superman. Kirk Allen, even, a good Superman. Bunch of great Superman. Dean Cain, not a bad Superman. Tom Welling,
Dean Cain.
Not bad.
Loved him as Tom Welling played Clark Kent. Exactly. He didn't play Superman.
Well, he started to play Superman in the last episode.
Yeah. Tim Daly as the voice. Great. George Newbern as the voice. Nothing but good Supermen. That's what I'm saying.
Brandon Ralph.
Great we live in an era with all those great Supermen.
Brandon Ralph did good with what he had. Unfortunately, what he had was not much.
I was convinced if it was a good script, Brandon Ralph could have played an amazing Superman.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's just it relied too much on the past and tried to shove something in there that didn't need to be shoved.
If it was a remake and he was casted, that would have been the Superman.
It's kind of going with that lightning in a bottle thing, just everything matching up, and just with that they found the perfect guy to be Superman. Unknown name, both perfect actors to play the part. They sell you in who they are.
I wouldn't say unknown. I'd say not well known because I gather the Tudors is very popular.
Fair enough. But I mean, just two relatively unknown relatively unknown actors who basically transform into the role, and it's just Henry Cavill. He does you buy that there's Superman on screen. They captured that on screen, which is magical. I will say this though, I think Cavill is more suited for Superman. Then again, we haven't seen him really do like the workplace Clark Kent. So we'll see where that goes. But what we do have is we see him we don't see him even as Clark Kent other than just the roaming Clark Kent, which is really just Superman. So in this one he's kind of playing more, I guess, they're both kind of playing Superman. That's a whole nother debate, though, the masked Superman Clark Kent thing. I'm not going to get into that now, but you know what I'm saying there, right? They both embody what Superman is.
Clark Kent, man.
They're both Superman of a different generation. Right. This guy's more Superman than Clark Kent, but we'll see where that goes in the future. Flashback, then we can talk about the literally Clark Kent, then the end, then final thoughts.
Yeah,
so flashback.
Sure. The 2 sec. Yeah, okay, so the flashback, kind of cool. I didn't mind it. I thought it was okay.
It was a good touchback to the story.
Yeah. We need to put it in there for the trailer.
I'll say this, though. It might have been... I heard a really good idea. Again, I think it was by Kevin Smith. It was a really good idea. It
better not be Superboy.
No, it's not Superboy.
Okay.
The idea was... The idea was... He was expecting that to be like another kid inspired by Superman. Hence the red cape. Like a kid who saw Superman, now just the ending of the film would be the kid who's dressing up like Superman to emulate a hero. Which sounds like a pretty good idea.
Okay.
But this, though, I mean,
Okay.
a lot of people, some people, very few people have been questioning, well, so have heroes existed before this? But I'm saying, capes are cool, and you got the Zorro and people, with capes, so I mean, it's a common thing. Maybe it's just red cape.
If they're trying to do a shared DC universe and all, it would be something if they said, like, back in the 50s or during the World War II era or something like that there were superheroes, and they were called the Justice Society of America.
Yeah, but even though caped heroes, I think all we have is Dr. Fate. No, Dr.
We
Fate
have Green
Sandman.
Lantern, we have Dr. Midnight.
Okay, you're right. I forgot.
Man.
I'm sorry, I was thinking original Justice League. I wasn't thinking Society. You're right. But yeah, see, it was a good moment. I like how they're paying tribute to the grave of Jonathan Kent, and they have that great moment. It warms my heart when he's seeing his son. Just that moment where he's casually fixing the truck, and he's just kind of seeing his son. It's just that moment of clarity in that saying. He's here for. I know he's said that over and over again, but it's just visually shown here. It's he's here for a reason. Just that's my boy right there. It's he's going to do great things. I know it. And of course, the fact that he's not around makes that even more powerful. It's just that he didn't live to see it. But then Ma Kent says he lived to see it all, Clark. He did. So I wish he would have seen what I did because he never knew what my purpose was. That was a really heartwarming moment for me, I think. But okay, now let's get to the welcome to the planet.
Cool scene. I really, I was waiting for it throughout the whole movie, and I'm glad they made me wait. And I like the glasses they picked.
I like how they teased the glasses
I really did.
with the elevator.
What kind of glasses were they? I wasn't paying attention too closely to the glasses.
Oh, I did. They were thick. They were thick frames.
So they were like my glasses.
Well, like the 3D glasses they give out in the movies.
So they were like my glasses.
Yeah, that same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were very they were a bit more Christopher Reeve-ish than Dean Cain glasses, which I like. I'd rather those because they take up a little bit more of the face, and and by the way, I'm with Kevin Smith on this. I can deal with the fact that Lois Lane, but in this I'm substituting. Everyone else can't tell the difference between that and Superman. That
also,
Smith
had her find out in his script. Yeah.
Did he? I've got it marked, and I've been meaning to read it. I'm gonna get him to sign it, and I'm gonna have him write on it, especially.
Well, the document. I'm waiting for the documentary to come out.
What?
Well, I mean, I funded, worked. I didn't fund. I don't want to make it sound like I'm a rich guy or like I'm just taking credit for the whole thing. I mean, I contributed to a Kickstarter, is the proper term, for the documentary of that to be made. Like, a guy's making a documentary about the whole making of the Man. So he's getting interviews with everyone, and he got all his funding, so he should be heading to Tim Burton, if I'm correct, to actually get an interview by the guy.
Making of Superman Lives or Man of Steel?
Superman Lives, the whole Kevin Smith script.
That horrible movie that was going to be made.
Yeah. So the whole story behind that, with all the crazy John Peter stories and stuff. So okay, let's final thought about Clark Kent. Great. It was a nice moment to end the film on. Of course, it's kind of the double line, whole welcome to the planet. It was fun. Their whole question about how long does it take place afterwards? Did the Daily Planet get destroyed? Is the city in working? Yeah. Well, it looks like the city's in working order, so I think it'd take more than 3 days to rebuild that city. But that's just me.
Especially,
maybe the planet wasn't destroyed. Maybe it's just a really good block of the town that wasn't destroyed.
Maybe the LexCorp building. It wasn't the LexCorp building destroyed.
Maybe. Well, I mean, the battle was on the LexCorp building between him and Zod.
Yeah, okay, so guess what? Lex Luthor is going to build a much bigger building.
Yeah. And Lex is going to give a really...
The pilot episode of Lois and Clark, I love that line where he says, I love the feeling that everyone has to look up to see me.
And
to me, I love that. To me, I like the motivation in this one is.
And then it's like in the end of that episode, and Superman just looks at Lex like, well, and if you ever want to see me, just look up.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
He's like, you have to look up now.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
To me,
nice
in that
moment.
moment, it's like, that's the beginning of the rivalry.
To me, that was To me, the ending of this film with the whole Clark Kent even being in this film, I think was a really well-kept secret because people either assumed Clark Kent was going to be in this film, or some people, like it was kind of hinted at that maybe we wouldn't get a Clark Kent in this film, like the whole Daily Planet Clark Kent.
Yeah, there was times there where I was like, they're going to do this really weird. They're not going to have a Clark Kent in this film. So, like, right up until the end, I didn't think there was going to be a Clark Kent until I started seeing those teasers. And I'm glad they teased it right up until the last few
I think that
frames.
I was expecting a reference to the Christopher Reeve Clark Kent, or just regular Clark Kent. And we did get that at the end. We'll see how it plays out too. However, I got to point out this thing of logic here before we get to the final thoughts about it, about the film. But here's the thing. You know, people have got to recognize him. Do you think people are going to recognize him, like, too, saying, wait, aren't you Superman? You know, it'd be hilarious, his response to that.
Why? He's wearing glasses.
Apparently it works in the DC Universe, but doesn't work for Lois Lane.
Well, Lois has seen both sides. She has literally talked to Clark Kent without the glasses. So once she hears,
now.
oh, that's Clark Kent.
No. She had Clark Kent, and she looked at him, and she could tell. But she
has met.
She could tell it was
the
him.
actor.
But she had met Clark Kent before.
Are you making
that's
a
what my
Rises
argument
joke?
against it.
Who?
I saw you enter the orphanage one time. They had that look about you, same look I give people. Yeah, the whole Rises joke.
It's the same. It's not the same. It's that she knows it's Clark. She knows who Clark Kent is.
Yeah, but
she does.
No one else at the Daily Planet has actually met Clark Kent, so they have no idea what it's like.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, and
but
plus
still,
he's wearing glasses. The mystery man argument.
You'll be hilarious, I think.
And also, the other three Daily Planet people that actually saw Superman, they saw him from a distance. They can't exactly tell.
With that, they kind of played that Superman like the Flesher Superman. He's just there to save the day, and then he's off. You know, you don't get a good look at the guy except for Lois Lane. But here's the thing. Also, the government knows that Lois knows who he is, so we'll see how that comes into play. But anyway, the thing is, it'd be funny if they did kind of this joke, like Daredevil, some people know his identity, but he's kind of shrugged it off legally. So it'd be funny if there was like the gag where someone says, wait, aren't you Superman? He says, no, I get that all the time. I think that'd be funny.
Yeah.
Because he does, I'm saying, in this modern era...
It's like actors. It's like real people when it comes to actors and all that. Some real people actually looks like some actors. And that happens a lot. Like, hey, aren't you this guy? You look familiar, aren't you?
No, I get that a lot.
We'll see how it plays out, too. Maybe they just don't get a good look at Superman. Who knows? We'll see. But, really, very millisecond things to bring up. Clark Kent, he was drinking beer, Budweiser, and that's something we did on Superman 2 Superman doesn't really drink. Something to point out. It's like not really a complaint. I'm just saying it's kind of a thing.
Superman
He's from Kansas. He's from Kansas. So I don't mind him drinking.
My knowledge, I've never seen Superman drink.
Superman is not affected by alcohol.
He's not affected by alcohol. I don't know. It's just saying it's kind of an image I'm not used to seeing. Like, you only had in Superman Returns once. But still, just there, and here, I'm just kind of noticing I kind of blended it in with the language of the world that we live in now and kind of that. Something new to Superman. Not bad, just new to Superman. I've noticing with this one, because it's been a long time since he's been on the big screen. So there's something to point out. Yeah, just something to point out. Also, one question for you, Mr. E. What was the Booster Gold reference?
It was when the Zod and Superman were on the side of the building and they were about to collide. If you look in the back, like right behind Zod, There's
Okay.
this lit up sign and all,
Mhm.
and it's garbled up, and you can barely read it. It says Blaze Comics, and Blaze Comics is the comic book store in the DC universe that produces Booster Gold's comics.
Huh. Also, wait, do you mean in the comic Booster Gold they produce his comics, or do you mean literally they produce Booster Gold comics?
Well, it's like this: Booster Gold, the comic series. There's a comic book company in the comic book called Blaze Comics, and
Okay,
the comic book company in the comic produces Booster Gold comics.
Okay, so it's like his own comic company within his comic.
Yes.
Okay, I got it now. But okay, last reference I'm going to bring up. There was I believe, sorry, McBuy, in Smallville. In Smallville when he's a kid, there's like a soccer team or something called Keystone with Keystone City on there.
Really? I didn't see that.
There's some sort of reference to Keystone City. It's like a soccer team or it's some sort of sports team. Like
I would have liked to have a
Smallville
Coast
Elementary.
City reference.
It's some sort of sport event. For all I know, I don't think it's on the TV. I'm pretty sure it's not on the TV when he's drinking the Budweiser, but I think it's earlier in the Smallville when his youth. When he's like a kid in the classroom, you see a sign with like Keystone City on it. Could be wrong about that. From what I know, I'm pretty sure it's there. So don't quote me on that one. I'm sorry. Let's get to the final. The final thoughts.
Okay, final thoughts. We're going to include ratings with this. I'll start things off. Overall, this is a great movie. I do have problems with the third act. In parts, it's nowhere near the problems of Batman 89's third act's problems. So, overall, I'm going to give this movie a rating of... It's really hard because I feel it deserves more than a 3.5. But it doesn't deserve a 4. So for the first time, I'm going to give this movie a rating of 3.75.
Really?
Because I don't feel... Yeah. I know that sounds low, but to me, it just... That third act problem, it cuts it off from me. Like, normally, like, right up until... Like, I was watching this, and I was like, you know what? This is a solid 4. It's got its little its little nitpicks in it, but it's still good. And then it gets to that point in the third act. It just took me right out of the movie. So I just have to give it a 3.75, guys. I'm really sorry, but to me, it does not deserve. It's above. So that's above average. That's still. To me, I'll still add it to my DVD collection because I just love. I do love Superman quite a bit, not as much as Batman, but I do love Superman quite a bit. So, and this did a lot for him, and it's taking big risks. It's doing a lot of good things. So, it's a solid movie. So it's above a 2.5, and so it's 3.75. So it's still worth watching. It's still worth going out and seeing. It's still worth getting on DVD. It's still worth getting on Blu-ray. It's just not the greatest thing I've ever seen, and it's nowhere near cracking into my top 20 films of all time. And it's nowhere near. I don't even think it cracks the top 50.
Oh,
it'd be 51.
It cracks your top 100 though.
Of all time, yeah, my favorite films of all time. That 51. That's nothing to sneeze at.
Mr. E.
bluedragonfive.
Yes, that's my name, Mr. E.
You go. You go next. I want to go last.
No, you go. No, you go.
You go next. Look, it's like this. We
I'm
started
asking
this
you who's
video.
on first.
No, it's like this. We started this video with Magpie. We're gonna end it with me.
End it with a question mark.
Exactly.
But, okay, let me go here.
We're gonna end the statement with a question.
Okay. Overall, this film, again, kind of reiterating what I said about it, it captured the spirit of the Donner film in that it's not the same thing. It captured all the right things fell into place for this. A production that had as much difficulty, as much risk as the Donner film. The Donner film, they were doing the first superhero film, essentially. I know there were some before. I'm saying, really, this was the first actual superhero film. Superman 78. Now this...
Yeah, well, and it had been a long time since Superman had been on screen, period,
well,
hasn't it?
2005? 2006.
No, when the 78
when
came
78
out.
came out. Oh, there was 60s Batman.
When it was anywhere on screen.
Oh, no, there was Superman and the Mole Men, but was that on TV or
The
is that
50s.
actually...
That's the
That was
50s.
That was George Reed's Superman.
Yeah, so that was a long time
Then there were
before.
serials, but they were technically in theaters, but either way. So I'm saying big time, like I'm not discounting them, it's like big time in color in theaters. Like, it was a big screen funded. Yeah.
Like big budget films.
If that film didn't swim, it would have sank like a stone, and a kryptonite stone nonetheless. But yeah, this film, it captured that spirit, and that all the pieces came together. Something really beautiful came out of it, I think. Really, really good. I think it's going to redefine things. It might lead to like a reverse Avengers. One could maybe hope. What I will say is this. Earlier I mentioned that I came into this film thinking it was just going to be a good alternative Superman. Like, okay, I want to see like a rebooted Superman, see what they did with it. Some new ideas, see how it looked. Could be good. And I saw that, and after I came out of that film, I was thinking, I changed my mind about it. I was saying, I can accept this as a new Superman. It surprised me. It was that good, I think. That it changed my mind from just being another alternative Superman. Yeah, this is actual, this can be valid Superman. We can use this for a Justice League film. Like, at first I was thinking, go my route of the Justice League, and it's just a bunch of individual rebooted film. Just a bunch of individual films just establishing who the character is, then just have a Justice League film set in its own universe. But this one sold me on being connective, like the Iron Man films with Thor and Captain America and Hulk to lead to the Avengers. But now they can start with Justice League and build towards the rest of it afterwards. So what I'm saying is, I know I'm going along about it, but I really enjoy this film. It is kind of it is like Batman Begins, but for Superman, but it has more hope behind it, I would think. I disagree with people who say it's dark.
It's darker than what we were used to for Superman.
Yes, but I think people kind of sometimes lose grasp of the hope about it. There is some good hope about it. I will say this. I think that I see why people... At first, I heard people didn't like this film. My jaw dropped. I was saying, how can you not like this film? After a while the week after that film came out, I was just pacing around. I was thinking, how could people not like this? It's impossible. It's like if people hated The Dark Knight. Then I listened to the reviews, I listened to people. I'm hearing some valid arguments. I rewatched the film. And, I'm seeing the arguments, but I like the film regardless, and I still say it needs more time to sink in for certain ideas. It's a really ambitious project, a real risky gambles. I think they paid off in the end. I will say this. There are some faults, I won't lie. And again, some risks that really turn you off to the film, that's a taste issue. Fair enough. If it's not your Superman, it's not your Superman. If it's too un-Superman-like for you, it's fair enough. I can adapt to it. I think it's fine. I think it's an interesting idea, interesting growing room. I think a lot of growing room is left, again, with the whole Codex, seeing how that turns out. The whole Codex thing, and then the killing of Zod. So I think those are ideas that can play into the future that would kind of fix it, and again, maybe saving more people during battle. So there's a lot of room to grow with this. So I think that's the kind of reason I can forgive the stuff a little more. So we'll see what happens. Overall, I think it's still fine as a standalone film. I think in the end, you really enjoy the film, enjoy it heck, enjoy it like the people that saw a Superman film in 1978. Really great, captures what Superman is. DC's done that for all their films. At least their successful films. They've captured the essence of the character. Marvel adapts storylines and also the essence, but DC, they capture the essence, really. And they did that with Superman with this time, like they did with the Donner films. Donner film for a new generation, but not the exact same thing. Lightning in a bottle, I repeat it again. again, this film is faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, and, gentlemen, can leap the tall building a single bound. My rating is,
Yeah.
well, not surprising to Magpie, but I'm going to say it. I was going to say 4.5, but I'm thinking I'm going to say 5 out of 5. I'm on the fence, though. Okay? I would have said, I was thinking about 4.5 really much, but I'm just saying, I think these ideas have room to grow, and I think they're still good, and you just find a way around it. It takes time to sink in, I think. So I'm saying 5 out of 5.
Yeah.
Alright, so this is a 5 out of 5? Or like 1 to 5 scale?
Yeah.
Alright,
Yeah, 1 to 5
best.
scale, we go here. We don't do the Captain Logan scale here. We don't do but honestly, if we did the thumbs up, thumbs down for this, I would give it a thumbs up.
Captain Logan does the same thing, only to 4.
Alright.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He doesn't do I don't do the Captain Logan scale.
In my opinion, this is the Superman movie that the modern generation needed. With everything that has been going around in our world to date, we have never had a character to give us hope.
And
Batman was bringing fear to criminals. Yes, he could have brought some hope, but it wasn't all there. When this Superman movie came out, it emphasized that he is here to bring hope. And with everything that he did in this movie, it actually brought hope to me that we could someday help other people on the side of the street doing whatnot and all that. This movie also brought in the idea of, yes, even in my mind, I think it even said, yes, we're not like the other Superman. We're not trying to be like the other Superman. This is a beginning of a new era of Superman. So, with this story, it brought in everything I wanted. It brought in the characters I wanted. And even brought in the ideals I wanted. It brought in every single thing I needed. Yes, it had flaws. It had notable flaws. I'll give it that. But its flaws undershine and can be ignored by all the good things in this movie. So, with that said, I give this movie a 5 out of 5.
Oh, okay. So on the
I'm sorry.
One last thing.
I'm going to kick myself if I don't mention this. The Hans Zimmer score. Should we give our thoughts on that?
Brilliant score.
Okay. How many times have I got to say this? Hans Zimmer is my pick if I ever get to do a big budget film to do my music score. So, let's put it out there. Okay. Anytime Hans Zimmer does a score, I'm going to say it's great because he always does a great score. I have never had a problem with his score. Even in Hansel and Gretel, I love the score in that.
To Lion King to Man of Steel, great.
Yeah. Look, Hans Zimmer does a score. Guess what? I like it.
You like it more than John Williams?
John Williams does great classical scores, and he usually does a good score too. But if I was picking an action movie score to someone doing it, if I was doing an action movie, I'd always pick Hans Zimmer to do my score over John Williams. But John Williams would always be my second choice. If I couldn't get Hans Zimmer, I'd get John Williams.
I was so curious about what he was going to do with the score, and everyone was wondering at the time, is he going to use the original cue for this? And he didn't. But really, the first teaser trailer made me a little nervous because of
the first teaser trailer, it was not Hans Zimmer's work.
That's what I'm saying.
It was from Lord of the Rings.
Because I was still curious. I was hoping to hear some Hans Zimmer score the first time I didn't, so I was a little worried. But then the third trailer it blew me away with the score. And we also, I mentioned this now because in the last scene of the movie we get the actual score. Well, we get the main Superman theme, which also has been isolated now on some like YouTube tracks or however you go about it or download it or whatever. It's really, I love this theme. It's just what Hans Zimmer did in this film. I'll admit this. I like the John Williams score better, but I'm not counting this out. This has a lot of good stuff to it. I think some people they're not crazy about the drum angle about it. There's kind of like a building drum angle. However, at times I think it works so well. It works real well in the oil rig scene. However, my favorite part is there are two moments. Well, three scores. One is when the baby's being born, such a momentous occasion, and you get the inkling of that Superman theme. Then there's the fight with Zod at the end during the death. It's a great action score, and of course that ending is the emotional build towards it all. But then the last one, of course, the theme I just heard on, like, it's in the trailer, but then they kind of put it into like last part of the film, which is kind of my complaint with Rise. They didn't do that with the Rises trailer 3 soundtrack. Didn't put it in the film. But what is there is this, it's just this great, it's this building score. I can't really describe it. It's just so good, people. They have to listen to it. It's the equivalent to saying, it's the modern day way of saying Superman in the score. You know? It's just really great. It's like this build. Something like that. It's just like building underneath and just like big. It's like kind of a love letter to the original John Williams score, but in its own way. It's really, really works. At times it's so wonderful. At times just a little generic, but at times when it gets wonderful, it is just spectacular. It's super.
I had a friend of mine who watched it with me, who knows music, who knows classical stuff, and who knows like orchestral music.
Yeah.
He said if you pay attention to some parts of the orchestra, you can hear some of the George Reeves theme song, and you can hear some cues from the John Williams theme song, the John Williams stuff.
Nice.
Okay.
Which I wasn't trying to pay attention, so I was just watching the movie.
All right, guys. I think we've delved into this movie enough. We've been talking for 3.5 hours here. So,
and geeky gentlemen.
Yeah. So, I think we all pulled this movie apart greatly. But overall, like I said, a great movie. It's very hard for me to give 5 out of 5s anymore. But I'm sure it'll be back. We've got huge plans coming up. We've still got that Ghostbusters commentary to do. Really looking forward to that, especially with our extra special guest that's going to be coming on board to do that with us. We've got big plans for other comic book movies coming out as well, guys. I've recently had my story that's going to be part of an anthology book coming out, guys. I've been in contact with the publisher, and she told me that it's going to be out very soon. I'm going to post a link with that as well when it comes out. So stay tuned for that, and please get the book when it comes out. I would really appreciate it. So guys, we will probably be back with Ghostbusters. If not, it will be some other video. But please stay tuned for our Ghostbusters commentary. I'm really looking forward to it. And I've got an opening plan for that, guys. So,
I'm just going to say this right now.
Stay tuned.
I'm not the black guy. I'm not being racist, I'm just saying. I don't have his personality.
Okay. But anyway, we'll be back, guys. Stay